What is up, soccer fans? CONCACAF Champions League semifinals, leg 2. Here we are. Chaos, potentially? I don't know. We're going to find out. I'm Allie Trost. You are in our AT&T 5G virtual studios. Thanks so much for joining us as we get set for this big matchup between the Seattle Sounders and New York City FC. Seattle currently leading the way, but like I said, chaos. It could be coming up tonight. We will find out. I am Allie Trost, joined by Kaylin Carr, Jordan Angeli, and Charlie Davies. Guys, what is up? How are we feeling?
Feeling great. Excited for the match. I mean, we've gone through so many of these different Champions League matches where we're like, is MLS going to get a team in the final? Can we get to the final? And then there's a whole other hurdle, obviously still standing there behind. But we know that that's not the case. We don't have to worry about that. We have a team going through. The Sounders have the leg up in this situation. But I wouldn't count out NYCFC. I think a lot of people are quick to count them out. It'll be interesting. I think this first half will be really indicative. The game will have to be kind of split into parts for NYCFC. But I think there is a pathway. And either way, I think both of these teams, if they advance or whoever does advance from this has a real chance in the final, which if you're an MLS fan and you're supporting, the sort of the league, or you want to see us get over this hurdle, that's the exciting part for me.
Okay. Yes. Oh, Charlie, go ahead.
I was just going to say,
Charlie.
I'm pumped. This is the opportunity for both teams to come in here and stake a claim for a CONCACAF Champions League trophy, right? So when you're looking at Seattle Sounders, they put a good distance between them and New York City FC with a 3-1 win. But if you watched the Champions League, you also saw Chelsea was down by the same scoreline and came up with a 3-0 or they're up 3-0 and then it turned on. Real Madrid showed their character and came back to win. But it's really possible. If Seattle come in with the mentality of how New England Revolution played on the road at Pumas, it all it takes is one goal, one spark, one moment to get the team to believe that they can do it. And then we could see the whole game change and the tie flip upside down.
Chuck, what jersey do you have on today?
I was wondering what that is.
MLS Cup, let's go.
And Charlie, you just said one goal, but it's actually we're gonna need more than one if New York City is gonna make this chaos, like Allie was just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's getting late, so are we gonna get a little taste of MLS after dark action? We might.
Why not?
Why not? We're here. I think that would keep this exciting and keep us having something to chat about. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about, Allie. I feel like this matchup is what has been the best team in the West and who's been the best team in the East. And I feel like for City, this is a team who can step up, and especially with Tati Castellanos up front, not getting a goal last game maybe sets him up even better to be that player that they look to put a couple away here tonight. And we'll see if City can play some of the soccer that maybe they saw again with Seattle, because they were flying in that first game.
The pressure is on, that is for sure. And for all of you watching, we want to hear from you. We saw a crazy leg one game. Seattle Sounders fans probably feeling a little good right now. New York fans, how are you feeling? Seattle fans, how are you feeling? Okay.
Wow.
What do we think about this poll? I'm a little surprised. I don't know.
I'm really surprised because I know the Seattle fans don't joke when it comes to social media and voting.
They're like,
and if it's this close, I mean, this is good. I mean, this is good for New York City FC.
SKCKU in the YouTube chat saying, only tuning in for Allie Trost. So, yeah.
Hi.
So we have teams, we have supporters from, even if they're not for picking a side between Seattle and NYCFC. We should put a third line up there for Allie Trost. Would get, it might make a run for this.
Yeah, for those, I guess, who don't know me, you're probably like, where's Andrew Wiebe? I'm also in Kansas City. We are not in the same place. He couldn't host tonight, so I'm coming off the bench. I work with Sporting Kansas City doing the sidelines for them. Also do some stuff with the KC Current. So all of you Sporting KC fans, or maybe just fans in the Western Conference, maybe have seen me around. But hello, thanks for joining. But I mean, like you guys said, this is just massive for Major League Soccer. This isn't necessarily a, hey, outside of Sounders fans and New York City fans, this is huge for the league, for soccer in the United States, to have, what will now be the 5th team going to the final, hopefully becoming the first to actually lift the trophy. And they will meet, whether it's New York or Seattle, Pumas in the final. Charlie, I'll start with you. What did you think when you saw them advance past Cruz Azul with a 0-0 draw?
I was relieved in a way, because I think they're a very beatable team. I know, they were able to have an impressive result against Cruz Azul in the first leg, and the impressive comeback against the Revolution at home. But I've seen them kind of also get kind of run through, and you look at how the New England Revolution just really made them look like an amateur side in the first leg. I really like how both New York City FC and the Seattle Sounders match up against Pumas. It's not that they have any one player or a creative player that can break you down, a star. They just play as a team. They play hard, and you have really top-notch playmakers on both sides that, if they play well, they can break the spirit and the hope of Pumas. And I think that's when the tie's over. As soon as you give them hope and spirit and they play at this whole new level, that's when Pumas are dangerous. So I'm pumped. I think both teams can do it. New York City FC have lost 4 straight. That's 4 L's. They're in a run of bad form. This game could get them going in the right direction, but you just have to look at the Seattle Sounders and say they're favorites, especially with Nico Ladero starting to get back to his form, and Rui Diaz didn't have the best of first legs. This leg, all he needs is one chance. He's one of the most dynamic strikers I've ever seen in Major League Soccer. So I think the Seattle Sounders are still the favorites.
I don't even feel like he needs a full chance. Like, sometimes he just needs like the smallest of
a quarter of a chance.
Yeah.
Well, and the Sounders getting healthy at the right time. And Kalen Carr, we got the lineups out. One change to the Sounders side that defeated New York City FC 3-1 in leg 1. Nuhu sliding in at that left back spot. What do you think about this Sounders lineup? Are they going to get the job done in a confident fashion tonight?
They look strong, and I think Nuhu getting back will help. We've seen him in the past, the way he's able to really get up and down that left flank and combine and create space even for Jordan Morris, who is such a key part as far as being able to stretch the back line and get in behind. And I think we may see that again tonight. But yeah, you haven't seen this team really find a ton of time for Ladero and Rui Diaz. But when you look at that group together, it's scary, right? Like, there's just so much talent on each side. And the way they combined in this last week, last Wednesday, was incredible. Just the combination play. New York City could never really look like their heads were spinning around 360 degrees, and just never knew. It's so many different options to be able to find those combination plays. And Rusnak coming in, being able to get that goal, I thought was big for him to get his first goal for the Sounders as well. So really, with no Maxi Morales, we're wondering whether he could potentially get back. No Chanot. A lot kind of going against NYCFC. They're going to really kind of have to get off to a good start in this one, because this Sounders team right now, as they're getting more time together, is dangerous. And they haven't, you guys mentioned it before, they haven't gotten a goal yet from Rui Diaz. And so I think just getting him back he went, I think 80 plus minutes in the last game, right around that point. I wouldn't imagine him playing a lot more and not being sharp to be able to get a goal or two. And really, one goal in this one is going to really push the Sounders forward. So NYCFC really has very little margin for error.
All right, Jordan, now let's look at the New York City FC lineup. We've got our list here for us. And as Kalen mentioned, Morales out, Chanot out, 2 key players on both sides of the ball against a Sounders team that they're going to have to both attack and defend against exceptionally well if they want to get the upset potentially and move on to meet Pumas in the final. What are your thoughts on this New York side as they line up at home?
Well, I feel like we should also get a poll of like who likes lists lineups, because
yes.
I think that one's going to be a little bit more obvious to everybody. It's going to be difficult. I think whenever you have a goalkeeper like Sean Johnson, though, you give yourself an opportunity. You can come up big in some situations. I think I think it was Sam Jones who was writing about Martins and how he just has been recognizable. And as a center back, that's not something you want to do. So can he have a little bit more of a quiet game? I think that is important. And next to Callens, I think he's one of the best center backs in this league. So there's some stability there. But going forward, I really questioned, Talles Magno has looked good. And can he be that good creative player going forward, but also give Tati the chances that he needs as a center forward, especially tonight without Maxi Morales? I think there's a little bit more weight on all those attackers' shoulders to create on their own, and even maybe for the wingers to combine a little bit more with Tati and figure out a way to get a couple of goals, because that's what they're going to need here. And it'll be interesting to see the tactics, I think, of how New York ends up starting this game, or when they push, or how they push to get some of those goals, especially on a little bit bigger of an area than they're normally playing out at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, first goal is going to be massive in this one tonight. And for New York, like you said, Jordan, tactically, they're going to have to really figure out how they want to approach this one, since they have they've got some goals to score, but they also have to defend well as well. So I want to get everyone's thoughts on this in the YouTube comments. If you're watching, hop in the chat and let us know. Jordan Angeli asked the question, do you prefer the list or do you prefer the lineup? I think the answer to that one should be maybe a lot more black and white than some of the gray area that we were getting with the Sounders New York poll. A lot closer on that one. I don't think that one would be nearly as close. All right, now we've got some scenarios up here. Seattle, of course, leading 3-1 on aggregate scoring. Who will advance? You know, I got your feelings on this at the start of the show, you guys, but I mean, everything's favoring Seattle right now in this one. Do we think
Everything.
everything?
I mean, the only way, and I talked about it in the first leg, it was New York City FC, I think, came out a little too reserved. So the first 5 minutes, I thought they were on the front foot. They were creating a little bit of space in the final third. And then it was almost like, oh, let's pause a little bit. We were a little too aggressive in the first 5-10 minutes. And then Seattle got into the game. Tati Castellanos did not get involved enough. He didn't have enough touches. He wasn't in dangerous positions. He checked too deep. And so when you have your best goal scorer and attacking player checking too deep into the midfield, then you're losing everything going forward. You know, they just don't have enough without him being up in the attacking third. So if they can push the lines higher, be a little bit more aggressive, and score an early goal, and when I say one goal can change it for them, if you score early enough, that gives the team the thought process of, oh, we can achieve this. Because if you got to take it one by one, step by step. And if you can get that first goal and it ends 1-0 in the first half, you know, you only need 2, right? And that approach really puts all the pressure on Seattle. And they're always thinking defend. That only going to play to your advantage. So I do think the first 20 minutes or so, it's like you're just pressing wave after wave. And that's where Seattle can break on the counter. You have Jordan Morris in the lineup. They just have to capitalize on their chances.
All right, Charlie, talk about that mentality. And like you said, they need at least 2 goals if they want to move past Seattle and meet Pumas in the final. And now, Kaylin, Jordan, I want to go to you two as well. Former players, the mentality. If you're New York, Jordan, I'll start with you from the New York perspective. If you're New York, how are you mentally approaching this game? And then, Kaylin, we'll go to you next for how you would approach the game mentally if you're Seattle.
I agree with Charlie. Like the first 15 minutes, I think you have to be willing to put yourself out there a little bit. There's a balance of being eager and ready to play, but not getting too stretched, because you don't want Seattle to find too much space to connect through to Ladero, and then he has so many options to spring. So be mindful of that connecting piece. But I do think that if they can use the home field to their advantage, because I would imagine they're going to get a good crowd there tonight, home field to their advantage, 15 minutes of just high intensity, high press, see where you're at after that and reevaluate, because you kind of have to look at this game in different phases. And if you can get out of that first 15 minutes feeling like you're on the front foot or with a goal in the bag, then that is definitely something that's going to carry you through the rest of the game. But they can't give up early. So it's a real balance, Caitlin. I don't know how you balance that. especially at this level, knowing that what's on the line. But that's what they did last year. I mean, they figured out a way to win MLS Cup last year.
They did, and they had some adversity doing it. They gave up, conceded some goals late on that sent them to extra time, and then essentially then Sean Johnson had his kind of heroics in penalty kicks. So if they could find their way to a situation where they're going to penalties, I think that would be 3-1 would be the only situation that would take them there. That would be good. I just think it's hard for me to imagine the way I saw Seattle playing, them not getting a goal this week, which would make it more possible that 3-1 really is the pathway for New York. I think if you're Seattle, from a player's perspective, you're going to feel confident. You're going to feel good because you did the business in week 1. And in the first leg, getting that third goal, even on the penalty, they were applying pressure and waves to get that extra bit of cushion that I think will allow them to come in a little bit more confident tonight. Seattle, I think in a sense, I don't think they'll need to dominate the ball. I think they'll be content to be a little bit more compact, be tough to break down, and understand that the more and more New York comes out, especially as you guys are talking about, if they come out with a big first wave, you hit one counter through Jordan Morris or Ruidíaz gets it, and it could be good night. So I think Seattle's done the hard work to put themselves in a good spot, and it's an experienced team as well. Which I think will favor them as well.
We will see as we get closer and closer to kickoff here, and we'll have a note on how to sync up with our stream. But Matt Doyle feels pretty confident.
Oh man,
already issuing a congrats. Now, is this actually, like, if you're a Sounders fan, let us know in the chat. Do you feel like this is a bad omen here? Is this some bad luck, bad juju?
There's some weird games today already in Champions League. So like,
yeah, he's throwing the bad juju out because
he's doing it on purpose. Yeah,
it is entirely possible for New York City FC to win 2-0. That is entirely possible. That's not impossible. You score a goal in both halves and it's game over. For New York, I look at their lineup. They don't have Maxi and they also don't have Keaton Parks. Acevedo is more of a defensive player. He's not a player who's going to break the lines. He's one of those players who fills the gaps. He wins the second balls. So I think he's going to be more defensive. Alfredo Morales, he can play two ways. He's typically more defensive, but I could see him pushing high. It'll be interesting to see how Odmanson and Gray, the outside backs, how they create the balance because they both can't go forward. It's got to be one or the other. And then you're kind of having three guys mark two Seattle players because it's always going to be Ruidíaz and Jordan Morris typically is going to be higher up the field. Roldan is the player you got to watch for when New York does commit all these numbers forward. He makes that late run out of midfield. And that's really tough to track. If you're a center back, you're outside back, you're focused on the players in front of you. And typically it's the midfielder's responsibility to follow Roldan. That is where he can unbalance you. And the Seattle team is very difficult to deal with because João Paulo is capable of finding a nice spot and dumping it over for Roldan to make that run. So it's going to be a chess match, but it's entirely possible for New York City FC to score that first goal.
You could have just said João Paulo can do anything. But Charlie, you bring up Acevedo, and I think it's actually a good switch when you think about this game and having to deny Seattle counterattack opportunities. Maybe he has a little bit more coverage in that defensive midfield position to be able to snuff those things out and to either tackle at the right moment so Seattle can't go on the counter, or win the ball, win the ball, and then give it off to somebody else to create. But you do lose some creativity without having Keaton Parks there. And you lose, he's got a good shot from distance, maybe stretch out that Seattle back line that's going to be in a probably at times a really compact defensive block.
Okay, we are about a minute from kickoff here. And for everyone watching along with us on YouTube, if you want to be in sync with us, no spoilers. But if you want to, that's fine too. Just don't ruin it for your friends. That's no fun. But if you want to be in sync with us, we will kind of let you know here when we are pressing play and getting this party started. So we are off. We are off. Play, start, game clock, ready to rock. Here we go. We are underway.
Okay, so we can sync up though. What I'm waiting for my game clock to pick up, but
I'm at
and if
16,
you're watching at home,
17, 18.
You're at 17.
19.
I'm at 8.
Oh, okay. I'll pause it.
oh wait,
There's already a
oh, wait.
scuffle. There's
Yeah,
already
what's
a
going on
scuffle.
here?
Oh man.
All right,
MLS
love
CCL After Dark, you guys.
I mean, this was like,
Hey, I said it's dark over here. Might get weird.
oh wow, okay, so this is Arriaga's on the ground. What happened? I missed it.
Yeah, waiting for a replay. I was like trying to get my clock set. No time off when you're watching CCL After Dark. Can't look away for a second. Keep your eyes glued to this game. And
Yeah. Yellow card.
Yellow card.
Okay, well
Oh,
that's a
yellow
good
out.
sign, maybe. What if we saw red in the first minute? That would have been
That would.
not a great start.
Okay, I'm seeing the replay.
Yeah, so Tati Castellanos just completely rams into Arriaga, not attempting to play on the ball, and it's a yellow card for sure.
What would instant replay say? Yellow card?
Yellow card, 1,000%, but nothing more.
I don't feel like he went for the ball at all.
Yeah, it's a yellow card. It's
Okay.
reckless, but there's no intent to injure there.
Okay.
There's not like for me, it's not excessive force. It's not a dangerous play. It's just a reckless play. And it's a play that we've seen. I mean, I've seen Kalen do this a couple of times, just
Stop.
running into center backs.
Don't bring me into this.
Okay, but in all seriousness, guys, how does that kind of set the tone now for this match for both sides? I mean, already getting out to maybe a little bit of a chippy start, you can sense those emotions and kind of how high that is for both sides.
They tapped each other on the back of the head, which obviously means whatever that means. I don't know. Did you guys ever do that to each other? It's such a new thing, I feel like, in football. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple versions of it. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. There's a couple versions. So one is you ram somebody, they're clearly angry, and you give them a pat of like, there's more to come. It's like, oh,
right.
it's a sign of like to everyone else, oh, I'm just saying like my bad, but it's more of a, oh, there's more to come. And then there's on the flip side, the player is like hitting maybe Tati Castellanos being like, I'm gonna get you back. Just like a nice
Yep.
smile, but like you'll
Right.
get yours.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that won't be the last time we see some contact between those two.
I would say from Tati's point of view, it shows you a little bit where he's at. And I think like we've seen he got a red card, I remember, in the playoffs against New England last year. He's got a little bit of that like fieriness where he's not just waiting for center backs to dish it out. He's willing to give a little bit himself, which, you know, as a former striker, Chuck, you can probably appreciate that. Just being able to, I don't know. I think he's trying to kind of like assert his presence, and he didn't get a goal last week. He's been a little bit frustrated. And so I think for some players, we've seen this even with like Sebastian Blanco in Portland, just some of the guys that can kind of help them get into a game is to get that first tackle in or to kind of get into a defender's head. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
and,
Tati's like one of the most top like 10 in fouls committed in the league anyway. So
Well,
I knew that
New
was
York's-
coming soon enough.
New York's going to need him to get going tonight, especially with Morales out. And I want to go to the chat real quick for all of our streamers on YouTube. Who's your player to watch tonight? Who's the game changer for both sides to kind of have the biggest mark on this game? And you guys can jump in on this too, but I want to hear from kind of everyone, fans, all of you here. Just what do you think? Who's your player to change this one?
I mean, for me, it's no doubt for New York City FC, it's Tati Castellanos. We've been accustomed to seeing from him all last season. And then for Seattle, I'd say Nico Ladero, because he's a player who sets the tone and the tempo for the Seattle side. And so sometimes he's going to have to keep the ball for his team, even though the press is there. relieve the pressure by finding the next pass, but also, hey, let's go side to side. We don't have to go so much backwards or forwards. Let's take our time, be patient on the ball, and then knowing when to go forward, knowing when to hit Jordan Morris on the counter. We're looking for for Christian Roldan. So I think those are the two key players for me.
All right, Jordan, Kaylin.
It's hard not to say Tati just when you need goals, but I've liked Talles Magno in this early season, so maybe it's him, because I feel like all the attention is going to be on Tati, and everyone's going to demand him be an important piece of this. So can Talles Magno be just a diversion from that? So can he have a good game? And I think that allows then Tati to get a little bit more freedom. For Seattle,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be their back line.
I like that. Yeah, I think Santi Rodriguez is another one to watch. At times he really can be a playmaker, and with no Maxi Morales, they're going to need somebody to kind of grab the ball and help create. And then I also think, just based on that 2-0 scoreline, like Sean Johnson's going to have a day. He's going to have to really be alert for any of these opportunities on the break, be active off his line. And really have to probably come up with 1 or 2 big saves to be able to keep them around. So yeah, I mean, it could almost, you could pick your poison for Seattle. I just think they have so many options, but I think Tati is ultimately, we can come around with as many names as we want, but if New York City are going to do it the way we saw them go through the playoffs, Tati really was the one to get them that clutch goal when they really needed it. And so he's going to have to play that same role tonight.
Well said, Kaylin.
Yes.
Thank you, Chuck.
Snaps for
Appreciate
Kaylin. Agreed.
Silence.
What do you think the atmosphere is like at this? Because it's at Red Bull Arena, right?
Yeah, it looks amazing.
I was just going to say, everyone in the chat right now, everyone in the chat right now is commenting on stadium looking empty. And for those who didn't know, New York playing
Looks
at
like Lumen
Red Bull
Field.
Arena right now. Yeah, exactly the same. Copy and paste, same environment.
You guys played? Did both of you play at said Lumen Field? I know it was called something different in your days, but
Yeah, it was Century Link.
it's Century Link. I couldn't think of what it was called. What was that? What's it like playing there?
It's legit. It felt like you were playing in Europe, and I think that was the atmosphere they were going for in terms of the passion, and you could feel the presence of the fans. There aren't too many teams across MLS where you feel the presence from the fans, that it would almost deter from some of the teammates who typically don't respond well to adversity, because there are players who kind of tend to shy away from playing in away games because they're not used to, or they can't necessarily handle the animosity.
Chuck,
I'm not throwing no names out there, but I will say
it rhymes with what?
Yeah, I will say you feel it, and you also feel it in Kansas City, as you know, Ali. So, it's an impressive fan base. I've always had so much love for Seattle just because of that, and I'll also say, when we played Red Bulls in the playoffs in Red Bull Arena, it was packed. It was I would say it was the most vibrant MLS match that I've played in, just from the standpoint that it felt like anyone who was a Red Bulls fan was in that stadium, and everyone was loud and had the horns and the jerseys and the face paint, and you could feel that, and it just adds to the environment of the game. It's tough when you don't see the seats packed and you see the coverings over seats. I know it's a midweek game, but man, you don't like to see that.
Right. They were just showing Schmetzer, and I think every time they go to him and he's writing in his notebook, we have to just say something that we think he's writing. What do you guys think?
We tried playing this game last week, actually, a little bit, and we didn't get very far. So, Jordan,
Dang.
please start us off. What do you think is like the? Do you think it's like a haiku, a poem, half
Little hangman action.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I
I don't
mean-
know yet because we haven't seen the notebook, so it really depends on the moment.
Okay.
So I'll try
That's
to think
fair.
of something good.
I
but
think it's the same lineup, the same graphic we had, where it was like with the
Just the
logos
list.
based on how many goals on each side,
Okay.
just to like keep track.
and when he takes someone out, he just crosses them out and puts
Yeah.
their name there.
Yeah.
But on the other side, he has it as a list as well Just-
Uh,
for the variety.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think Red Bull Arena is a great venue. It's obvious this team has actually spent a lot of time playing there, so they'll feel
Mhm.
comfortable.
Oh,
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 are we not lined up?
we're not lined up. I'm seeing a cross right now.
Same.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
I just had the
what
Charlie Davies
what time?
reaction.
What time?
Oh, wait.
What's
What was that?
what's your timestamp?
That was like, I'm now. Yeah, we need to like sync up, guys.
yeah.
I'm at
Okay.
11:11 right now.
12.
I'm at 11:20. So let me.
Okay.
I'm at 11:22. I'll pause.
Okay.
Okay, we're about to hit 11:22 right
Wait.
Now.
Let me. I
All right.
paused because
Did
I
that
didn't
work?
under.
Okay.
I'm at 11:28.
Okay.
Same.
Pause.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not, you guys. I messed
Okay,
it
where
up.
are you at?
I messed it up. You guys all
All right, we'll
pause.
get there.
Tell me where you're at.
All right.
Okay,
11:40, 11:41, 11:42.
Okay, pause
11:43.
there if you're the furthest one. You at 11:42?
11:49, 11:50, 11:51,
Well,
11:52.
pause.
Everyone
Oh,
pause
pause.
at 11:50. Pause.
Okay, 11:50. I'm there in 3, 2, 1, 50.
Okay. Are we all paused?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone in the chat, join us for a little play party. Everybody on 3, 2, 1, play. We should be synced up here.
So what's
Just-
your time now?
11:55.
Is it going now? Though?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. And now what is it?
12:02.
Okay.
Okay.
We're all lined up.
Oh, well done.
Wow,
well done,
that was
everybody.
stressful.
All right.
If you're,
Woo!
if you're in the YouTube chat, give yourself a round of applause. If
Wow,
you're
we
on.
made it. We made it.
You guys are talking about your former player days. Like I'm sweating over here, like trying to get the clock synced up. This is like a workout in of itself.
Oh.
Okay. We
Also,
did
If
it.
you're ahead in the chat, don't ruin it for us, please.
I know.
Yeah. Oh,
I get it.
that was
but
good
don't.
pressing.
Good teamwork there. That would have been big, obviously.
Mhm.
But it shows that they're threatening there. The only thing I was gonna say
Oh.
was turnover here. But Daryl,
Not the person you want to turn the ball over to right there.
no.
I don't know who you would want to, though, with Seattle and their front players.
Yeah. I think any of those 6 guys up
Yeah.
top could be dangerous. All right, but hey, we talked a lot about in the pregame about the first 15 minutes of this game. We're almost at that 15-minute point. What have you made of both sides through these first 13, 14 minutes?
It's
think
exactly
City
what
was-
I expected.
Yeah. Go ahead, Charlie.
I'd say New York are clearly on the front foot, and Seattle have been patient. I think Seattle may look like they're rushing a little bit to counter. I don't think they necessarily have to do that right now, but I think it's just trying to say, hey, if you're going to continue to press, we're going to push you back, and just trying to. The more they can go forward, the more threat that is going to make. I think New York City FC have to adjust their tactics. So that's kind of what I expected for the first 14 minutes.
I think you're feeling
Jordan?
okay if you're New York as well too, because you created a really good chance at this point. I think the goal is you kind of break this down into blocks and you try and approach it and win the first half. If you get up 1-0 at halftime, you feel great because just anything in the second half and you advance. So right now they haven't given up a really clear opportunity to Seattle. I know Seattle's comfortable and doesn't need to push in the same way, but for New York, I still think they're in a good position where you want to be careful with that turnover, any turnovers around the back, but they've been able to create something, and it's just about kind of taking advantage of these chances.
This is beautiful right now from Seattle.
Mhm. That was so good. I think that's where it's going to be most difficult too for New York, because they're going to, yeah, we talked about transition, but Seattle just showed in the last game how good they are in possession as well. And just their ability to switch the point, to play through the lines like they just did there. You know, that was with an overload on their left side. And then with New York bringing numbers in and not having the numerical advantage, and Seattle's still like ping, 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 like no big deal. But for New York, I think that it's been a good start. I would cautiously say when Seattle's pressing, at least in those first few minutes, and New York's trying to pull it out, bring it out of the back, Seattle is very much shadowing Callens, and they want Thiago Martins to have the ball, which I think is very smart of them. What is he going to do with that ball? He almost gave up a really sloppy giveaway. So maybe some more long balls from that situation and see if they can create out of there. But not a bad start. It's good energy to the game.
Oh,
Okay, taking a look at the chat right now. We've got a lot of Jackson Reagan love.
That's a good win streak at Red Bull. I know you were just talking about that, Kaylin, too. 9 wins at Red Bull Arena for New York City. 2 losses, 4 draws. It's pretty good stats.
so the stadium is blue?
Ooh.
Well, those games weren't all against.
Those are
Red
fighting
Bull.
words.
That Chuck knows how to get the chat going. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
All right, quick poll here. Who
Okay.
scores the first goal? Which team? Which player? Prediction time.
I'll be brave. I'll go with Tati getting one. I'd like to see this get interesting. So, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Oh,
with
you're
Tati.
going with that narrative. Okay.
Yeah, this might we're here. We're here hanging out. Let's have some fun. You know.
I'm going to go Jay Morris.
Okay.
Jordan Zion Morris.
Is that his middle name?
No.
What are you talking about? What did I just do?
That would be amazing if it was. Chuck, you
I'm gonna go Santiago Rodriguez. A little playoff from Tati. He fills in that space and top of the box ish. I see it all in my head. We'll see if it comes to play.
We've got a good question here, Charlie, for you in the YouTube chat. This is from Isaac.
Okay.
It says, "Yo, Charlie Davies, how do you stay focused as a striker when you aren't getting touches? And you can't say you pout and throw your hands up. It's not an option."
I've never done that. The way to get going is on the defensive side of the ball. So I've had a number of games where if you're a striker, you want to be involved, you feel like you're starving because you're not getting service, and the players who provide you service aren't getting on the ball. So you're thinking, well, how am I going to get involved if I can't get a pass? So the only way to get involved is by checking back and trying to poke one away from a midfielder, stealing one off a center back, but getting involved defensively. And typically that is how you can get going. One, you get yourself going because you're getting touches, but you also get your team motivated and you get your team going because you're leading by example. If your striker is the one running around defending like crazy and winning challenges and sliding, even if you slide tackle a player and you cause a throw in, other players are going to, I think, react because of your actions. So I think that's the best way to go as a striker is just work. Work rate is the only way to keep going.
And as a midfielder, when your forward was doing that, that was like, thank you for helping me.
Got to show love.
Yeah, right.
Did you ever play any games where you would be like just kind of, even if you weren't getting the ball, just trying to threaten the back line to make them think about going in behind or trying to get lost behind a center back so they don't know where you are. Just do like little things when you're bored to try and maybe tick somebody off or make them at least think about you. And if you weren't getting the ball,
you literally try everything. I mean, it's runs, it's bumping into players, trying to get them off their game and thinking about where you are all the time, or if you're gonna, nudge into them, or if you're gonna put a little extra shoulder in a challenge, literally anything. Goal kicks, set pieces, throw-ins. But just trying to, it's one thing if you're getting on the ball and your team's being proactive and you're in the runs that you're making, they're either looking for you and playing into channels, or you're pulling players out of position. If your team doesn't have the ball, and I've been there, it's difficult. And the only way to get involved is by trying every trick in the book. And so when I look at the game against Spain, when we played in Confederations Cup, for instance, we weren't expected to have the ball. And defensively, I think tactically, Bob set us up to Josie and Charlie, you're two strikers, but all you're going to do is defend the midfielders. Make them beat us with their center backs. Make their center backs have to play those balls in between the lines and make the game. And then all of a sudden, you win a second ball, you get a throw in, and you find your moments. And then once that moment comes, you have to grab it with both hands. And we're able to do that twice. One off of a cross, and a player takes the ball, bad touch. He thinks he has too much time, and Clint wraps around and scores. And then one was off our throw in the attacking half. Clint and I play a 1-2. We find Josie. He shrugs off one of his teammates and scores. So, I mean, I think for New York City and Tati Castellanos, it's just continue to press every Seattle defensive player. And eventually your team's going to win a second ball. They're going to win a long throw or a challenge, and then you're going to be higher up the pitch.
I like it.
Charlie, I don't know why when you said you and Josie doing that defensive work, I had like a Mighty Ducks, like Bash Brothers chest bump, like, let's do this work. Oh, and then you did it.
Wait, Jordan, what were they like?
That's
One more
what
time.
went through my mind. Like, is that
Mighty
what happened?
Ducks, Bash Brothers.
I love it. We need it. Can someone watching with us make a graphic? Any graphic designers out there? We need that art in our life. Okay, Grand Meester in the chat says that they used to tell corny jokes to players to throw them off in a game. The example he or she gave was, why couldn't the toilet paper cross the road? Because it kept getting stuck in the cracks. What are some ways that you guys would presence known on the field, get in the opponent's head?
Oh!
I think I'm a little. How did I get ahead?
No.
Are you on the replay now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Defensively, Tyus Magno gets his team going. And that has to be on goal for Tati.
Right.
It has to be on goal.
It really does.
Maybe he was distracted by the toilet paper jokes.
So why did I laugh at that? Oh my god.
Okay, so it would have worked on Jordan, we know.
Yeah. I did have someone, I mean, this wasn't I wasn't good at any of those tactics. I just needed to focus on actually playing. But I did have once in college, we were playing at Pepperdine, and the fans are always chirping you. And this fan, I will never forget it. This fan was like, "Hey, number 18, have you ever heard of conditioner?" And I was like, "Oh, good one." Like, thanks.
Did you react?
I smiled because I laughed at that other joke. It's funny.
I've seen on a corner kick, Kalen tie defender's shoelaces together. I looked down. He was like by the post, and he was just like tying the shoes together, and the player couldn't move, and then they were able to score at the near post.
Okay, fastest shoe tire ever. Maybe I'm just like, I need to get back to my fundamentals, but that seems pretty impressive.
Gotta stay on your toes.
It was a quick knot. It was a quick knot.
Okay.
Did you double knot it though?
I didn't have time to double knot.
No time for
bunny ears. Bunny ears or no?
Definitely not.
Okay. We've got another question coming through for all of you and then everyone watching along with us. Best stadium in Major League Soccer and why? My pick, it's tough because like I honestly, I haven't been to all of them, so I can't definitively say without
Soon enough, you'll be to a lot of them.
I've been to enough.
Yeah.
Without picking one, I'll give my top three in no particular order because they're all on any given night just incredible. Sporting KC, I'm a little bit biased there, but I go to a lot of games there. CMP during the playoffs, there's no place like it. Lumen Field, absolutely an electric atmosphere, and then Bank of California Stadium, one of the noobs that has just been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to argue with that list. That's pretty good.
It is hard to argue.
Chuck, you throwing in Foxborough? Let's go, buddy. What do we got?
I'm not that biased. I want to say one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen would be the 2018 MLS Cup final at the Benz. When Atlanta United took on Portland. That was impressive. That felt like a World Cup match. Yeah. I was moved. I got in my feelings because I was like, soccer in this country has made it. That was my initial thought because I was like, wow, the scarves, everyone had a jersey on. You could feel the passion and the city just embraced the sport, embraced the team. So for me, the Benz, just from that one game, has to be in the top three. Seattle Sounders, again, their fans are just so incredible. It's gosh.
Wait, I'm confused. I am trying to think of my list. Is it atmosphere or is it stadium? What was the question, Allie?
Atmosphere? It was stadium, but
so we could go either.
Stadium,
okay,
I'm going to try to think of my list.
I'll give my three atmosphere and my three stadiums.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Three atmospheres. Atlanta United.
Rui Diaz. Wait, who said Rui Diaz would score first? Somebody on here? No?
Nope.
We talked about it.
Okay, someone in the chat.
Great length.
Someone in the chat definitely said Rui Diaz. Whoever did that, correct. Good job. Okay.
Well played.
Wow.
Yikes. I'd say the three top atmospheres are Lumen, Seattle Sounders, the Portland Timbers, and the Benz. Those are the three best atmospheres. I'd say the best stadiums. Look at that.
No, it's inside. Just redirect.
Who
plays that in? Nuhu. Yep. Good ball.
Wow.
Oh, through the legs too, huh?
Yeah. Rui Diaz is that dude.
Yeah.
He is that dude.
Okay. Schmetzer looked like he was like taking a little snooze there.
SKC and Red Bull are my top two that I've played in for soccer stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen the new Crew Stadium. I haven't seen Cincinnati's new stadium. I haven't been to the Bank. So
you haven't been to the Bank?
I haven't.
Man, you gotta get out there.
I know.
Yeah.
That's an old stadium now for MLS standards.
That's old news, man. Yeah.
I'm sure Nashville's is going to be up there now.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I've never been to Nashville. I've never even been to that city, so I would like to check that out.
Yeah, you need to go there too.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Seattle up 1-0. What comes next for New York now in this game? 29 minutes in. What do they got to do?
Well, it's only going to get, I don't know, because you would think Seattle maybe doesn't press as much, but they're in their attacking half trying to win the ball back, and they just did that. So I felt like City had the run of play, and that's what Seattle can do to you, is just hit you with one shot and get the lead. So I don't know. If I was New York, I don't know if I would change much about how they were going forward. They just needed to, I think it was right at the beginning of the game. If they execute on that one play and get something on frame, this is a different game. So they're getting chances.
Yeah.
They still
And
had to
they-
score 2 goals, right? Before the game started. So
Yeah,
it
right.
doesn't
You're
really
right.
change anything. They still have to score. I think they have to score in this half.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because if they can take it into halftime at 1-1, it's a much easier hill to climb, knowing that you just got to score 2. And if you score that 1 in the first 10 minutes of the second half, you have all the momentum. But I think you continue to press and you try and get 1 goal.
Yeah. You have to get one before half, because 3 in the second half is like entering like Liverpool Champions League final territory. Like it would be a very tall task. So I think, yeah, because even if you get 1 before halftime, you still have you're back to the same problem you started with. But if you get 1 in the second half, even if it's late on, you're still throwing the kitchen sink the last 5 minutes. Maybe you make it crazy, and 1 more sees you through to penalties. So I think it definitely adds next 15 minutes are going to be huge for them to really create another opportunity and put 1 away. But here's one. Oh,
Ooh,
Oh,
Oh,
oh.
that was a good ball.
yeah.
Okay. The
Nagano's been good.
the chat is calling for Seattle to go full Atletico Madrid. What say you?
No, I'm gonna say no. Oh, Nuhu, what a athletic flailing header that was. That was so. Can we just
He
clip
does it
that
on
in?
both ends.
I know.
yeah,
They
it's
assist and
the
then
equivalent
tracking
of like the goalkeeper that does like the photo shoot dive. And you're
Yeah.
like, you could have easily just stood there and caught it.
Right.
I respect that.
When New York was just building up, though, I do feel like they have to have someone different at the top of the box. If Seattle's going to drop that many players back, I think it was Amundsen who was at the top of the box and ended up passing it. But if you can float someone in there who can shoot a little bit better than him from distance, that quick switch could be a space where they maybe can get something on frame. Just wouldn't be the player I would choose in that situation.
Yeah. They found
Not-
Totti there that one time, but he also didn't put it on frame. So
Not
Yeah.
every team has Lucas Elarayan.
Yeah, that's
That's
very
true.
true.
You're spoiled, Jordan.
Just shoot it from outside the box, right? That's all I'm saying. Anyone can score that. I know that he's absolutely ridiculous.
Yes, he is. Can we talk about Columbus a little bit? What's going on? Give us the inside scoop. What's
The
going on?
inside scoop.
Well, I know the
Well-
results aren't quite there for what they
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
Oh,
Oh,
Is that Thiago?
yeah.
another good ball.
Oh, Nuhu, don't play games with our hearts here. We need you in this.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Columbus, I feel like good start to the year. You know, the last 2 games, what's difficult, I think, in the last few games is just giving up early goals. It just makes the run of play so different, especially when you're playing against a team like Nashville and a team like Philadelphia. I think Nashville put a really good blueprint out there of if you score early against the Crew, it's going to be hard to break through. Not that the chances weren't there and the opportunities weren't there, but I feel like Philly did almost the exact same thing with getting the early goal, which was just a difficult one, I think, for everybody to watch. Maybe not the Dupe fans, but then they just sit back, and they did come out a little bit more. But I think Columbus in general has defended well, and the run of play has not been solid on set pieces early on in the season. They seem to shore that up a little bit, but yeah, it's hard. We saw it. I know Charlie talked about Champions League. I think the games today, but last week with Man City and Atletico Madrid, like even Man City had a really difficult time of breaking down a block, right? It's when teams just sit in 10 yards on top of their 18, it's like, oof, how do you break that down? It's a difficult task. So I don't know. I feel like there's still there's still a lot of season left and a lot of good things happening, but
Of course, of course.
It's been a difficult couple games because I think the Crew think that they could have left all these games and had a result in every single one, and probably a win in every single one too. So,
yeah, and some of the goals you mentioned, some of the goals have been kind of fluky, of course, too. So
yeah,
you're not going to find yourself in those types of trouble, especially with a goalkeeper as good as Room is. So
yeah,
you hope some of that stuff just kind of is just a freak accident.
But it is so fun having Lucas, and like every time there's a ball at the top of the box, it's like Pipo was with us the other week when it was his retirement, and he was like, Lucas, he's like 80% of the time he's going to score those. And honestly, the stats are probably that good. And I'm like, how do you get so good at that? Like, it doesn't matter if it's from 18 yards out or 30 yards out. He has the same whip and accuracy, and it's ridiculous.
Okay, speaking of MLS teams form here, Jordan, talk about some of the struggles for the Crew. What about New York? 1 win, losses, 0 ties in their last 5. Down now at home against, or kind of at home against the Sounders. What's going on with the reigning MLS Cup champions? Or is it just that? Is it?
I thought you were going to go straight to Charlie. I thought you were going to go to Charlie on that one. So,
yeah,
Charlie, why don't you take New York?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you lose a player like Chanot, who has been at the heart of the New York City FC back line, and the partnership with him and Collins has been phenomenal. Thiago Martins is going to have to adjust to the speed of the game, the league, everything, and the tendencies of his teammates. You knew the back line was always going to be set when you had Collins and Chanot and Johnson behind them. It was always secure. There was one of the best partnerships I've seen across Major League Soccer for a number of years. And so you're seeing the absence felt. And I think you also throw in Maxi Morales not there. I think defensively, Alfredo Morales and whether it's Keaton Parks or Acevedo, that hasn't always looked sharp. So it's a little bit of that MLS Cup hangover. And that's the thing. You can't count this team up because they have so much depth. And like the Revolution, like the Crew, I think they will, at the end of the year, respond and move into being a contender again.
Okay, well, I did just have someone ask if we can already start moving on to the Sounders versus Pumas in the final. A little too early for that still, but speaking of hangovers for winning sides, the scenario here is Seattle does advance. They do go and play Pumas, and they are the first MLS Cup team, or the first MLS team to lift the cup and to win CCL. What's the expectation? How does that change for Seattle if they go and achieve that? If they then, maybe don't make the playoffs, or their 2022 season ends early, they're on their way out. Have they achieved enough? Does it warrant a hangover this season in regular season play?
Well, in my opinion, territory, right?
Yeah, in my opinion, if they go on to beat Pumas and they play in the Club World Cup, you don't have to make the playoffs because you're the first team to do it. I think the appreciation from the league, it will be so high because we've always dreamed of having a representative of MLS to go and showcase what this league's all about, to showcase the talent, to showcase the brand of the league. That would be massive. And so the Seattle Sounders fans and the front office, the players, they're used to MLS Cups. They're used to trophies. They have never won the CONCACAF Champions League. So I think for them, they would also be disappointed not to be in the playoffs and competing, but it's not too shabby to come away with the CCL Cup.
Yeah.
Oh no, it'd be legendary. I mean, they would go down as one of the greatest accomplishments of what a team can do. And yeah, I think to Chuck's point, I think the Sounders are the type of franchise and organization. And I think New York City actually shares the same ambition to try and like push the perception of their club to a global platform like that, and of the league as well. And I think, for the Sounders, I think they probably still want to hold on to that playoff record because I don't think they've missed the playoffs. But I think everything instantly, like to your point, would become secondary to that. So, still a ways to go. We've dealt with a lot of heartbreak in the past, so I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But yeah, I mean, that would be it would be incredible. And I think it would go a long way towards the perception of MLS. And this is the type of thing that I think we want to see happen more regularly. And I expect that to happen at some point. But somebody's got to be the first, and only one person can be the first. These are very obvious statements, but I think Seattle would like to be, just knowing that franchise and the way that they've come into the league and tried to really push it forward in a lot of ways. I think that they would want to do that again. This is a big opportunity to do it. You even hear it from like Christian Roldan, who's in interviews where he's talking about like, this is such a bit like I think he called it one of the biggest matches, or even the semifinal leg is one of the biggest matches of their careers. So forget how many fans are in the stadium or anything like that. I think they recognize the opportunity in front of them,
and they're built to handle it too. That's the other thing. I mean, we talk about both of these teams, New York and Seattle, both very deep rosters, but the Seattle side, and especially getting healthy when they are, I mean, they can easily go in and be the first to do it. But let's ask the Seattle fans. It's easy for us to say whether or not we think trading the playoffs for a CCL Cup would work for us this season. How does that sound to you, Seattle fans? Let us know in the chat if you would trade the playoffs for a CCL title and all that comes with it, to be the first to do it in Major League Soccer.
They would. Think of these supporters going on a trip to a Club World Cup.
Yeah.
And the pride that you have.
They all would go.
In another country, just like rocking your gear, playing against the Champions League winners and the Asian Champions League winners. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That would be massive and so awesome. It's almost feels like it'd be once in a lifetime opportunity, but I do feel that the league has grown so much that this is going to happen more often. And the expectations across the league have changed quite a bit, because think about it. It's always been MLS Cup focused, not even regular season focused, MLS Cup focused. That has shifted quite a bit to, hey, there's a Supporter Shield championship that I think a lot of people are playing for that trophy now. That they know it means something, because why not win the Supporter Shield champion Cup or Supporter Shield and win MLS
Just the
Cup?
Shield.
You can do both. And then US Open Cup. I think the ambition from clubs has grown tremendously. Yeah. And now with CCL being something that the league has been pushing for clubs to try to achieve and be the first to do, the Seattle Sounders, if they score one more goal, you know this game is over. And I think that they fully deserve to go and represent the MLS and CONCACAF Champions League.
All right, let's see if they can go up 2 here. Little ambitious.
Just one last point on that too is, I think if you take any other team in MLS, there's not the expectation to be able to do that, and that or to be able to win Champions League, that would change the expectations of your club, is what I wanted to say. And I don't think that would change Seattle's expectations. Like, every single year they are expecting that they are going to win something.
Oh,
Rui Diaz again? Yeah.
So it's just like that's been there. They know that they're going to get out of a year at least competing for a championship into the last stages. And I think just adding something different with CCL would be, that would be so cool.
And you have to give a ton of credit just to the front office and the roster that they've been able to assemble. Because if you look at a complete roster from each team across the league, when you look at Seattle Sounders and the spine and what they've been able to accomplish, it's there's no wonder why they've had so much success after year, and giving players the right contracts and the right contract lengths, and moving on from players to bring in new talent. You sign a player like Rui Diaz, who was relatively unknown in MLS, and look what a goal scorer he is, and Nico Ladero, and treating him right and making him feel appreciated because he could be playing in Europe for a number of clubs in the top leagues. Christian Roldan and Jordan Morris, how they were able to develop those two, and now they're national team players. You look at acquiring Albert Rusnak. I mean, I don't think a lot of people thought that would be a place he would go to, along with João Paulo. And then I think Nuhu was pretty wild when he came in. Now I wouldn't be surprised if a number of European clubs come calling this summer, because he's made the Cameroon national team, and he's just been. And then you look at Alex Roldan as another player who's really developed into a solid, almost an elite level player in MLS. I think he's on the cusp of that because he's developed quite a bit with the El Salvador national team. And Fry is your goalkeeper. I mean, what else could you do if you're Seattle? And they continue to produce young talent in their academy. So hats off to the Sounders.
Yeah, seen a lot of Sounders fans jumping in on this in the chat. So we've got a question from Connor Johnson. Is the success of the Sounders more influenced by Brian Schmetzer or Garth Lagerwey?
I would say a combination, because it can't be just one of them. That's the absolute truth. You give Garth a ton of credit on some of the moves that he's made and the contracts he's given, because Garth Lagerwey does not, because Schmetzer doesn't have any say when it comes to, you got to pay a player this and you got to give a contract this. That's Garth Lagerwey. That's what he's been known for in making these deals. But what you have to give Schmetzer a ton of credit for is getting his players to stay hungry, to stay motivated, to stay tuned in, to not go through these lapses of, we've won everything, we can take our foot off the pedal. He's continuing to push them and keep them motivated and trying to win trophies. Oh, and I think his tactics at times, you may say, what was that? But at the end of the day, he has his team playing well, and he sets them up to win. So I think it goes both ways.
One thing I've really liked about Schmetzer is he's not afraid to change formations and some of his tactics to fit the players that he has available. And there's not a lot of coaches that do that or do it so often in a season. And I think that he kind of started that trend and is so comfortable with his squad that he just wants each player to be in a position that they feel like they can execute, and he gives them the confidence to do that. And you guys know, as a player, if your coach sends you out there and you know that he believes that you can do that, like, that's such a boost. And I feel like Seattle plays with that, no matter what type of formation they're out there with or what tactics they've implemented in a given game.
Someone jumped in and said that Garth is the contract wizard, Schmetz sets the culture, but they've definitely found that really good balance. And
was that Anders who wrote that?
Yeah, he's got like all of his burner accounts up. He's been
I know that was him. That sounds exactly like something he'd say.
Yeah. To the culture part of it, I mean, I do think that is a good word to use. And I think we've all played for managers in the sense of, you just want somebody that's going to be honest with you and that can tell you straight up when you're in the team, when you're out of the team. And Schmetzer seems very honest and very direct. He's also incredibly passionate. He was essentially, I sort of joke, he was like the first Sounders homegrown player, because I think he signed straight out of high school to play for the Sounders himself. Back in the day, I'm not going to put his dates on blast.
Don't date him.
But he probably would like that. He's been there. So to play for the club, he won titles in the A-League and I think USL before they came to MLS. So just with that like depth of history and the way you can tell he talks about the fans is pretty incredible to see. So I actually don't think I love Charlie saying both deserve credit, because I think Garth deserves credit. I think is widely seen as one of the best in the business. But I think Schmetzer at times, because he tends to defer credit to his team or to other people, sometimes gets a little bit overlooked maybe as far as the top coaches based on his like wins and loss and trophies that he's collected to this point.
All right, well, we have reached halftime here in leg 2 of the CONCACAF Champions League semifinals. Seattle Sounders taking the early lead 1-0 thanks to a goal by Raul Ruidiaz. And now let's first take a look back at that goal, but I've got some stats pulled up as well. But first, let's just look at this. I mean, Ruidiaz, not a guy you want in that position in the box, just so clinical.
Well, even from that spot, like the way that the defender had him shadowed there's really one option, right? Maybe he can sneak it in the near post if he decides to go there. But Charlie, that's exactly what you're talking about before the game. Like he needs one opportunity, and even it's not even a full chance. Like he makes that play look easy, but to put it through the legs of the defender, far post, that's not an easy. Maybe a finish Kalen could have done too, but
is that with the helmet or without a helmet? Because
I was gonna say,
if he's got the helmet, if he's got the helmet, for sure, I've seen him put that top bins.
Yes, helmet.
But Ruidiaz had gotten close, in the last two in his first match back, had a couple good looks and just was a little bit off. Even in the last match, he was right around it a couple times, but you knew it was really just a matter of time that if they gave him a look, he was going to put it away. And he had another second chance that Sean Johnson makes a good save on in this one. But if you get Ruidiaz, that just has that quality that if you give him two half chances or like decent looks, you can probably bet one of them is going in. Yeah. And based on the results last week, there was really hardly any margin for error for this New York team. And now they're going to have to come out in the second half with like a heroic effort. You have to break now this 45 minutes into thirds, and you try and get one goal per third if you're NYCFC. So you say, hey, let's come out in the first 15, get one back, give ourselves a puncher's chance. You try and go to the next 15. And if you have to cram one into the final 15, you do it. But I think it's important for New York to come out that first 15 minutes and try and get one back.
Well, and yeah. I mean, both teams in that first half, like you said with Ruidiaz, it just takes that one opportunity. And both these teams pretty close in terms of shots and shots on target. For New York City FC, 6 shots to Seattle's 5 shots on target, 2 for New York City and 3 for the Sounders. No surprise here. New York out-possessing Seattle 60-40. Jordan, I'm going to go to you. What does New York need to change? You just heard Kalen talk about breaking it into thirds, but at what point does the frustration sink in? At what point does some of that, okay, we're running out of time here. How are they going to attack maybe each of those thirds?
Allie, how many corners did City have? 2 corners?
2 and 2, both.
2 and 2.
Yeah.
I do think that City has had, so they've had those 2 corners, but they also had that set piece opportunity. And I know we were talking when it was going on, but I don't think Tati was the right choice in that angle. Like I know he's done something spectacular, but I think he's better from straight on. I think they need to do better when they do get set piece opportunities, because if you're going to try to get back in this game, there could be a good chance for them on set pieces. They are game changers. So maybe be a little bit more clinical and a little bit slow down slightly on and making sure that those corners and set pieces are a little bit more thought out. For New York, I think they have to, we haven't seen, it's going to probably be difficult now. Do you change things? Because Thiago is a little bit better going in behind. You bring someone in who can play in front of the line and create a little bit more, because there's not going to be the space to stretch. So maybe they make a change there. But it's just tightening those connections around the box, because they've had good possession around the box, but sometimes lacking that last pass. So can the person supporting get a little bit closer to the ball, really shadow the top of the box? I think someone with a good shot should be there. I think Santiago Rodriguez would be a good option, or pushing him higher so Tati could flare off to the top of the box. I don't know. It's going to be difficult. We're grasping at straws here, right? Trying to figure this out. because there's a lot of goals that have to be scored in this second half with not a lot of time left.
All right, Charlie Davies, Kaylin Carr, what changes are you making to this? Do you run out the same starting
No.
lineup in the second half?
I'm not. If I'm New York City FC, you have to try something different. And, whether that's bringing on Eber and pushing him up alongside Tati Castellanos and taking off, Acevedo and just playing with 1-6 instead of 2, or you move to a 3-man back line. And I just don't think this formation and these tactics are going to get it done. So you have to make a change.
All right, Kaylin Carr, what say you?
Well, it's tough because the changes that they would generally make to maybe bring somebody off the bench who would be a change of pace are starting in this match because you don't have Maxi in the lineup. And so I think Eber would be the one that I would look at just based on getting another poacher around the box. So maybe you go to 3 in the back and you use a dual striker formation up front, even just to draw a little bit of eyes off of Tati in that sense. But they've been able to get behind a couple times with that kind of just little lofted ball from the wing to get over the top. But it's going to be even tougher now with Seattle kind of coming at halftime, getting readjusted and kind of tightening that spot up. So, but I agree with Charlie. Like at some point you got to just throw caution to the wind a little bit because at this point it's really like you had to be cautious before. Now that goal is out, you really don't have time to be cautious at this point because every 15-minute segment you're just getting closer to the end. So things are lining up more and more though for Seattle to hit on the break again, which I think could be likely.
What about pushing Santiago Rodriguez to the wing and then bringing in Keaton Parks and having him play a little bit higher than he normally does? But when you don't have a playmaker, maybe Santiago can float in those half spaces and connect with Keaton Parks. I mean, I know Eber is probably the best option, but just another thought there.
Yeah, I like that. I think they really haven't gotten anything up the middle. And Santi in the last game and this week as well hasn't been able to kind of grab the game and play make from the middle. And he's played out wide a lot too. So maybe you get him out there and get him faced up a little bit more. So I think that could be a good option. And you save Ever for a little bit if you want to make a bit of a switch. But
have those two played up top together ever?
Eber and Castellanos?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot in the beginning when they both
as a duel.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Tati Castellanos struggled because Eber was the guy.
And Tati was a little more on the wing at times too.
He was pushed to the wing. I remember those. I just was trying to think of times that they played together up top. But no time like when you need goals.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Figure it out.
Yeah, well, especially, I mean, you don't want any confusion up there, like you said, when you're trying to find a goal. If that hasn't necessarily worked in the past, if the chemistry is not there, then you want to go with what's going to give the team the best chance to get in goal scoring positions. And even though New York had some of those chances, maybe that's something else too with this New York side. I mean, how can they get themselves in more scoring positions? Yeah, they weren't maybe clinical enough in a couple of instances in that first half, but they also didn't have a ton of really great goal scoring opportunities.
That's the tricky part, though, is just like, and at times this happens to the NYCFC team where they need volumes of chances and, they can create them, but you just look the other way and Seattle, I don't think had as many good chances as New York did or didn't press as much, but they get 2 chances and one of them happens to fall to Ruidíaz, or 2 of them do. And one of them's a goal. And it's just so lethal to be able to play that way. And so that's the tricky part for New York, because even Tati at times we saw him miss an opportunity where he didn't put it on frame. And when we've been critical of Tati in the past, it's been that he needs 4 or 5 chances at times where he's not quite got that same conversion rate as Ruidíaz.
Yeah, that's going to be tough, especially when you've also got to consider for New York, they're not just how they're going to attack in the second half. It's also, you got to defend a little bit too, because you go down another goal, and I think Seattle's going to start popping the champagne at that point. So
here's an important question. My friend Morgan in the YouTube comment. What's up, Morgan? Thanks for joining us again. She says, "What are y'all's second half snacks?" I like that. Charlie, what do you got going on?
Ooh.
You stealing from the boys?
Yeah,
You
I'm
breaking
about
into
to
the
make a
snack
run
cabinet?
real quick. Yes, I go with corn tortilla chips.
Oh wow, that's gonna
Ooh.
sound great with our
Crunchy.
microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, everyone, choose your crunchiest snack possible. We want to make sure those microphones are working.
Salsa or just plain? So then
Just
your mouth
plain.
is dry.
Yeah, just plain.
Okay, I'm with
Dry
you
it
on
up.
that.
What about you guys? What's your most obnoxious food choice for the second half?
Ooh.
Ooh.
I do have chips as well. So if we're going obnoxious, I was just gonna get a peanut butter cup because
Oh,
that sounds
that
the
sounds
most
good.
delicious thing. to get.
little sugar bounce.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'll
If
be
I-
right back. I might get a glass of wine too. I don't know.
Charlie's going to
Okay.
the wine cellar. Yeah, I like
Yes.
it.
I mean, it's got that like rich mahogany in the background.
It does.
I envision this like
Yes.
beautiful like room with a spiral staircase. He's got to go up, hop on one of those like sliding ladders, and select.
I'm
the
pretty
oldest
sure the
model.
room does have a fireplace in it
Oh,
as
yeah.
well, doesn't it, Kaylin?
Yeah.
So like next time we do this, I think he needs to sit by the fireplace in like a leather chair.
with like a
He's-
velvet robe.
Let's get a vote going on in the YouTube. Does Charlie come back with a turtleneck on and a glass of wine? Yes or no? Let me know with a wine emoji if you think it's just the
Mhm.
wine, or a turtle emoji if you think he's coming back with a turtleneck,
Yeah.
or
And
both.
also on that same note, let us know what you're drinking right now with a wine emoji, beer emoji. I don't know. Do they have whiskey? They've got like the little glass. They've got so many emojis.
They have
now, I can't
champagne
keep track.
glasses. Cheers.
do.
You know,
They do.
which Seattle
Yeah.
fans might be doing soon enough.
Yeah, definitely a champagne bottle too. But no, my second half
Yeah.
snack, I don't have them here. Otherwise, it would be. I'm like obsessed with Twizzlers or like licorice. I feel like that's not a typical
You like
favorite.
black licorice though?
No, I'm not quite there.
Okay, good.
I'm still. Yeah, I saw.
Do you, Kaylin?
No, can't do it.
No, I can't handle that.
Yeah.
I'm
a
hardcore, but
real-
I'm not that's tough.
It's a
I'm not-
real acquired taste.
Yeah.
But I'm a
Not
big
even
like.
acquired. Either you like it or you don't. And I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I've tried like from the time I was a kid till now, and after this long, if I'm still not liking it, I don't think my palate's not going to evolve. To bring
Allie,
that
you know
in.
what the best licorice? Those I feel like you can get them at. I get them at like Cost Plus World Market, but I think they're Australian licorice. Where they're. Do you know which ones I'm talking about?
I think I know which ones. Those are really good. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Wow.
Delish.
So it looks like
Elite
we've got a
licorice.
couple turtles so far. We have
Okay.
a glass of whiskey from Julius Carter. Definitely some
Mushrooms.
wine.
Yeah.
Couple beers that they don't know Charlie very well. I don't think he's more of a wine classy guy.
Mhm.
So, and then we have some champagne coming in for Coach Schmetzer. So that's pretty good. I just want to make a note. You notice how long Charlie's been gone? That means that's how big his house is. I mean, if I want to go get a glass of wine, I could like reach
Which
to my
door
kitchen
is
right
it?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
This
wouldn't
guy's
even have
taking
to
the
leave
elevator.
this frame to get going.
Sorry. I'm just
Well,
jealous.
we'll wait for him to get back to maybe sync up here. So we'll just kind of let this run, and then once Charlie's back, we'll figure out where we are all at and do that same process that we did in the first half, so that everyone can be on the same page.
Well, he should be rolling still, shouldn't he?
Okay, then if
Or is
that's
it-
the
I don't
case,
know. I don't know how it
we might
goes.
be
You tell
good.
me, guys.
I think the four of us have not changed a single thing. So for everyone watching, we're at 45,
Oh.
32. So if you want to get synced up with us, that's where we're at. We'll do our best. Hi, Tyler. Got a lot of sporting folks, a lot of KC folks in the
Ooh.
chat tonight.
Okay, you said I'm definitely not the same time as you, so maybe we do need to sync up.
Yeah, same.
Okay,
I'm
yep,
totally-
okay.
I don't know
We're
what
gonna pause.
happened.
Guys, I am like totally dropping the ball on
No,
this. Let me just
You
say.
can just
No,
let go
this
and
is-
then yeah. Oh, should
This
I
is
pause
just
now?
modern life. I heard somebody in the chat say earlier this is how they watched movies with friends
Yeah.
in like over Zoom, which is a good idea.
Yeah.
Should I pause?
maybe
Is that what I'm doing?
Yeah. I paused at 45:54. So let me know if I need to move that.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you move forward?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm at 14. Did you pause, Kaylin?
No.
46, 28.
Okay.
I'm
Whoa.
even further. Oh
Here,
boy.
I fast forwarded. Okay, I'm at 47:03 now.
Okay, yeah, you're all the way forward.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna pause at 47:13. So
Okay.
I'll see you guys there in the
Okay.
future.
See you there in 2 minutes.
47:13, correct?
I'm at 46, 58, 59,
Yeah.
47.
I think you can move the little bar at the bottom.
I don't trust.
No,
I
I'm
don't
not
trust
gonna
it.
do that.
Okay, I'm at
I'm just going-
47:13 too.
All
I'm
right,
hit pause on
47.
47:13.
47, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Are we playing?
Yeah.
I'm at 4.
Wait.
No, I'm at 5.
Oh.
No, I'm not there.
Pause,
you
pause.
guys.
All right, pause.
47:15 paused.
Okay.
Okay. 14, 15. Okay, I made it.
Go.
I don't know how I got so far behind.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
All right.
Charlie,
Whew.
everybody was voting. If you scroll up in the YouTube, you'll see whether people voted whether you were coming back with a turtleneck, in which case they were going to use a turtle emoji, or with a glass of wine with a wine emoji. So you gotta. Oh wow! Well done.
Yay.
If you picked the wine emoji on YouTube, congratulations.
You win
You
a,
get a high five
brand
from
new
us.
car.
I'm a little disappointed because I did go turtle.
Oh
go turtle
no!
emoji,
Come
but-
on.
Yeah.
And then
Wait,
with
is it-
some Hershey's Kisses
Ooh,
I was-
for the snack.
Oh, nice.
the Easter colored ones?
No, just the
Oh,
regular
just
ones.
regular.
Mhm.
I figured you'd have some Easter candy ready.
The Easter Bunny hasn't come yet.
Mm.
Okay, so are you a
I
last
meant
minute
for
Easter
just
candy?
your family. Gosh, Easter candy.
Easter candy is not one of those things that you can wait last minute on either. You're gonna get the bare bones if you're going on Friday.
Mm.
That's
Yeah,
a
leave
fact.
that to me then.
I'm not above eating some stale peeps. Not above it.
Oh, you're a peep guy.
Oh, big peep guy. I eat them on Halloween. That's how big into peeps I am.
Do you microwave them like some people do?
I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah,
really?
people, like,
What happened? That
zap
sounds
them.
dangerous. What
Yeah, I
happened?
think you just get, it's a little zap, just like
Oh wow.
a couple seconds. I don't know. I don't like them, so I've never done it.
I was like
Word on the
early,
street.
early Peeps fan, and then you
Aged
get sick
out.
of it. Yeah, aged
Yeah.
out.
You know what are the best? The little mini Cadbury eggs,
Oh yeah.
but the dark chocolate flavor.
Oh no, can't do that.
Why?
I can't. I
I'm
can
with you,
only
Jordan.
do milk chocolate. That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh.
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 Oh. Oh.
Oh my god!
Wow.
A double doink!
Double
No
doink.
way.
Wow.
How am I still not on the same time as you guys? I was behind.
Allie, they're definitely gonna pull that into the highlights of the double doink.
The double
that's
doink was good.
I actually
That's
think
my-
we should move to make a documentary, 30 for 30 about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great title.
I can't.
But
yeah.
seriously though, how did that just happen?
I don't know.
Okay, what time are you guys at right now?
Oh!
I'm finally there.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
We are
Let's
all
make this
tied up, ladies and
interesting.
gentlemen.
Late run. Was it Amundsen after I said that he shouldn't be the one shooting it?
After you
No.
filleted him.
Oh, that little dummy though.
Yeah.
Oh, that was nice.
It was Rodriguez.
Tati Castellanos with
Tati
the dummy
with
though.
the dummy, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was
Ooh.
nice. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
I mean,
So-
remember I said this is the goal that I visioned.
one thing
in
I
my
never
brain.
get, and one thing I've never understood, you don't get an assist for the dummy. We got to change that.
We do.
That should be
There
an
needs to be an
assist.
Yeah,
Asterisk by
but then-
MLS
but then-
assist.
and then you get into a gray area though.
Ah, okay. Here we
You know,
go. Like, did you mean to dummy it?
yeah.
Did you not mean
Did
to
they run
dummy
by
it?
it?
Did you
know?
leave it? Yeah.
But sometimes people assist it and they didn't mean to assist it.
Yeah, but they're touching the ball though.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, we've
I
got
don't know.
our.
I appreciated dummy.
I do
Yeah,
too.
that was good. That was real nice.
we've
And we
got
said
our,
break it into thirds.
we've got our
one down.
scenarios back on screen here, and we all
Oh.
talked at halftime about what this New York team would need to do. Like you said, Kaylin, breaking it into thirds. They're winning that first third of the second half right now, all tied up. It's still got a ways to go. What happens now? What comes next? What if you're Seattle? How are you responding to this? And if you're in New York, how are you trying to capitalize on this momentum right now? Which seems like they're really putting the pressure on.
That's the word, momentum. They just came out at halftime. You saw the way they approached the second half. We didn't see any changes from a personnel perspective.
Yeah,
but now you
Acevedo
look-
came out.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Who came in then?
Pereira,
Okay.
Gabriel Pereira.
Okay. So you make a change. Credit to Ronnie Dyla. Pardon. I missed that during all the halftime
We were-
shenanigans. Yeah.
We were
Uh,
talking about turtlenecks.
Exactly. And peeps.
Yeah, they brought in
Um,
an attacking player, Gabriel Pereira.
Yeah, but they've been pushing, right? And
Yeah.
they now have the momentum. So it's just
feel like
really
you
about like
Try to
seizing
get one
that.
here within
I
5
think.
too. Don't you guys think? Oh, I think I froze. Sorry.
So New York now need 2 goals to push it to extra time. Do they have 2 in them? Is the question.
I think they definitely do have 2 in them, but the problem is, can you keep Seattle from scoring? Because if Seattle scores, then it goes from 2 to 4.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of goals, you guys, best goals, favorite goals from your careers. Jordan, I'll start with you.
Oh my goodness. I don't have a long laundry list like these two do. But I was playing in Boston and
Quality over quantity, Jordan. You
Yeah,
know?
that's true. That's true. I was playing in Boston and Steph Lopez got the ball on the left side and I was floating on top of the box and she just lofted it in. And on the half volley, just doinked it over from the 18, like chipped it over top of the goalkeeper. I would say that was probably the best goal I've ever scored. It was fun. Blew some kisses to the crowd.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah, I was wondering what what was the celebration?
You know, in WPS days, like all the games weren't always streamed. So it was our one national TV game that we got. And my whole family in Colorado, I never got to play in front of my family, which was a bummer. And so all my family like gathered at one of their houses in Fort Collins, and everybody was there. And I was like, all right, guys, if I score, I'll blow you kisses. And so gave them kisses from afar.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good memory.
I'm jumping in real quick. I said extra time, go straight to penalties in the old CCL. So correction there on my end for anyone watching that is picking up CCL knowledge. Just speaking from
there's a lot of rules changing these days, so you're forgiven, Allie.
I'm in regular season mode right now, so
you're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay, Kaylin, favorite goal.
Can I pick one of Charlie's goals? Can I take one of his, or I got to pick my own? No, well, my favorite Charlie goal. Actually, there's some really good ones, but I'm gonna take the Azteca. I'll take it. I'll steal it from him. I love seeing him going over and rocking the mic on the corner flag. For me, I would say, I don't know. Goals are funny because MLS Cup, scoring an MLS Cup was big, but we lost the game, so it's kind of like a painful memory in a way, even though it was like an awesome moment. I'm proud of that. I felt like as a team we didn't end up getting the result, but I don't know. I think the best goal I scored was in a friendly in Houston against Valencia, I smashed a ball with the outside of with my left foot, with my off foot from outside the box, which I don't know what I was thinking. But and Brad Davis was wide open. I could have passed him the ball. And I told him after the game, I think it was maybe because it was a friendly. I was just like, oh, it's all right. I'm just going to go for it. But I told Brad after the game, like, look, Brad, if it's between my left foot and your left foot, I got to shoot that, And then from then on,
he's like, that one time, Kalen.
Yeah, he's like, don't make a habit of this. So yeah, that was a good memory.
All right,
nice to
Charlie.
score against a team like that too.
I switched jerseys too afterwards, so I made sure to something to remember.
Yeah,
it was one of the guys I dribbled by. I don't really know his name or anything like that, but
right. They knew more of the back of your jersey because you were driven by them.
They
so
saw
like,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's right, Jordan.
I got you, Kate.
All right, Chuck, take us through them.
Ah, jeez.
Give us a deep cut.
If I'm looking at most sentimental goal of my career, the Mexico Azteca was the highest point of my career, and that was like always the dream to play in that game against Mexico because they were the biggest rival. It was the first national team game I ever saw in person was US Mexico. And, that was a gratifying, fulfilling moment, but coming back after the car accident I was involved in and all this doubt. And, you can't really necessarily think that you won't be able to make it back or you won't be able to make it back to your old self. You have to always even trick your mind into thinking that it's a possibility, even though it's highly, highly unlikely. But to be honest, all the doctors probably didn't think I'd be able to run again, let alone play professional soccer again. If they had to really answer the question with the truth. So, Jordan Morris. But I would say my first game back for DC United, I scored 2 goals against Columbus Crew. And so, I'm all nervous before the game. It had been a year and a half since I played a professional match. And I had all the doctors and nurses in attendance who helped save my life. And so I come into the game and we win a penalty kick right away. And Dax McCarty was the captain at the time. And he picks the ball up and he walks over to me and he hands me it. And he's like, it's your time. It's your chance. And I remember putting the ball down and I had all of these thoughts running through my mind, all the emotions coming right to the forefront. And I had to calm myself and say, I've worked this hard for this moment. I can do it. And I hit the penalty. The keeper went the wrong way. It hit the back of the net. And it was almost like all my prayers had been answered, all the hard work, the blood, the sweat, the tears. I'm a new person, but I can still play this game and I can still have success. So that for me was the big one. And I think I was obviously a completely different person after the car accident, and you have that experience. It changes your mentality, changes your perspective. But I still love the game, and I want to enjoy it as much as I could. And I think that was kind of the part where I could kind of relax now and stop worrying about all the other things that go into the game and just enjoy just playing it. And and cherish every moment, which I did.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
awesome.
That's
good.
I'll never forget watching that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah. It's cool hearing your perspective because, like Kaylin said, we have our perspective having known you and, seeing from afar what you went through, and then to be so happy, right? Just so happy for you. And how crazy is it? I'm sure you thought about this, like that you played for DC and all of it. I mean, just how all of that turned out is just like,
It's a destiny in a way. That I look at it like it all was meant to be. As crazy as all these things happen, I firmly believe everything happened for a reason. And
yeah,
I can't tell you how many sleepless nights I had, and watching the World Cup in 2010, how painful that was, knowing that, oh, that should be me. And I honestly believe if I was playing in that World Cup, we get to a World Cup semifinals. And so I always put that on myself. Like I let down my team, I let down my family and the fans, because this country should be playing for World Cups. This country should be competing in World Cup semifinals. And I feel like we had the perfect chance to do that. And, playing with that guilt and embarrassment, and I was ashamed for so long. And that's kind of what carried me through the rehab process. So like you said, when that went in, I could finally let all that go. So it was pure release. It was a pure joy. It was like, oh my God, I can be comfortable with who I am now. And I don't have to worry about the what ifs anymore. Like the ship has sailed, and now I got to make the most of this second chance. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. I know Anders is scared right now watching this game.
Anders has been texting me. He's nervous, you guys.
Yeah.
I think the tune for the Seattle fan base has changed quite a bit. So,
but that's such a better corner. Just the service was better, I think, than what they had in the first half. Jeez. Wow.
Okay, so what's been the difference? Why does New York have our friend Anders so freaked out right now? What have they changed? What are they doing well? Besides obviously scoring the goal, but what's been the biggest difference that you guys have seen?
The extra attacking midfielder. So they went with the lone 6 and Alfredo Morales, and you bring on another player who gives you another layer in the midfield to put on the pressure, to keep possession, to make runs in behind like that. So you're drawing Seattle into the midfield to create those pockets in behind. With an extra player, that player can make those runs now into that vacated space. Then you're creating these gaps and holes. And I think for New York City FC, that, like Kaylin touched on, that momentum that's carrying them right now. And you just got to weather the storm if you're Seattle. Don't get pulled. Don't get stretched. Stay compact and wait for that moment to hurt them on the counter. I think it's really important that you don't let the game just kind of ravel away for you. And then you start, you feel like you're just chasing. And every time now you're just launching the ball forward and hitting long balls. They lose possession. They come right back down. So it's almost like, okay, let's keep possession now and not just rush forward. So it'll be interesting seeing that you can't give the ball away cheaply.
But like you said, moving from that double pivot, and as we talked about at halftime, if they do need more high volume of chances, that's going to give them the best option going forward, and maybe creating more in the attack to do that.
Maybe I should be a coach or something.
Did you ever coach?
Yeah, I coached college. I was a volunteer coach when I first signed with the Revolution. I coached the BC men's soccer team. So I got to coach my alma mater, and I wanted that experience just to say, is this something I want to do? And I think I learned that in the immediate future, it wasn't what I wanted to do. I felt that I could impact the game in a different way, and something that was more appealing to me.
Sorry.
No, what'd he do?
He did a choking face to the Seattle player. There's
Uh,
been some wild fans. I've been enjoying this.
Speaking of that, what's the craziest thing a fan did to you? Like to heckle you in a game?
Mm,
Kaylin?
I
don't
think
know.
well, I do think I may have been, I don't remember the heckling so much. Definitely a lot of helmet jokes. That was definitely a part of things. I think I remember a Houston game against Sporting Kansas City. Allie, I'm assuming this was not you in the crowd, but I think a
Can
beer
confirm it was not.
kind of close to me. I think I may have gotten a little wet, some spray after a Houston goal where we were celebrating, maybe a little too close to the fans. I actually kind of remember that with like a good memory, not like I don't know. It was just kind of the atmosphere in Kansas City was just amazing. I kind of liked playing against like playing in those environments where you were talking about earlier, Charlie, about just like feeling like everyone was against you, and we kind of had like a little bit of a blue collar team and attitude to ourselves. So and a great rivalry back and forth with the Vermes teams, and you know, those just like amazing 4-3-3 teams that had like Kai and CJ Sapong and Teal Bunbury and Susie and some really, you know, Roger, all those guys were still there. So yeah, it was some fun battles for sure. So I would say I really appreciated the Kansas City fans. They give you a hard time. They'll yell at you, but you kind of want that. I think that's like a fun part of it.
Well, like you said, so many great rivalry oh, jeez. So many great, I'm like, oh gosh, my head again. I don't know what's going on with these claps.
I don't know where I feel like I'm not on the same time with anybody.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm a little behind Allie, I think.
Whoa.
Okay.
Oh. Wait, was
Okay.
that the Tallis Magno? Is that what you were just?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting back on the same page as you guys.
How is that happening? That's so wild.
I have no idea.
Oh, what a goal! Wow.
No, he's lying. Don't listen to him. Don't fall for that. I've done this with him before.
This is his lie clap when he does this.
I was just gonna say, I was like, either you're watching a totally different sport right now, or
Oh gosh.
okay. What's everyone? Give me your time update.
68, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36.
I'm at 30 right now.
All right. I pause. I'll catch up. Tell me when you're at 42.
41.
Boom. Okay.
42.
I'm in play.
Cool.
Yep.
Knew who's walking
Okay.
off.
We should be good now.
Yep.
Cool.
You just did a backflip.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Charlie Davies.
This is also
got me into thinking a goal just happened. So it's just rocking and rolling
we
right
will
now.
not trust Charlie again.
Okay, but a couple of really good
gosh, I just
opportunities
love
for
Nuhu.
New York there.
Yeah, is he apologizing for coming off?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Like, I'm sorry. I gotta go.
I think I'm sorry you guys are not winning right now.
Yeah, oh my gosh. He just does everything to the
Okay.
max, and you have to appreciate people like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Kellen Rowe on. There's one change in Seattle. A little different situation there. But any other changes you guys would make if you're the Sounders right now, as they're trying to keep this scoreline as it is, or maybe even find another one?
I think at some point you probably make a change for Rui Diaz, just because you have Will Bruin and you have, I'd probably say Will would be the choice. You have Freddie Montero as well, but you don't really need a goal. You kind of need somebody that's just going to be some fresh legs and a nuisance, maybe hold the ball up a little bit. So I could see that happening. I think Kellen Rowe is a good substitution. He's kind of their Swiss Army knife. Oh, good chance there.
Yeah.
and he's a scrapper. He kind of, he has the skill. He's the playmaker, but is kind of found his place in the team through keeping possession, playing a bunch of different positions, and then really, I think, scrapping, being difficult to play against. So I like that substitution. In some ways, Seattle's really just trying to they've been able to take a couple of these breaks of the substitution, or even Ladero being down for a second. You milk a couple extra, seconds or a minute off the clock. And more than anything, you try and take away a little bit of New York City's momentum.
What was that?
There was a lot of movement on that header, huh?
A whole lot of head whip.
Which weren't you? I loved those replays of Benzema's goals.
Oh yeah,
because his head is so still. Like everything about those goals, the redirection was so perfect, and it's right there. Thiago is like moving every limb on his body trying to get something on it, and it's just the opposite of that. It was like a thing of beauty.
Okay, we've got a good question from the chat here from Gerardo. In case New York don't take advantage of the momentum, how long until it runs out or changes side? How much longer in this second half do they have of that momentum from that goal to capitalize before Seattle maybe takes advantage here?
I think it stays this way. They're not going to lose momentum. They may get fatigued, but I don't think the momentum necessarily goes away because they just need to score 2 goals. So if that goal comes in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they're still
good look here.
Oh my Stefan!
Oh my gosh! Wow. That was it. That would have been Kalen's theory. They would have gotten a goal right now, and they would have been on track.
That was massive.
I mean,
what a save!
Yeah. Ugh. That is such a good entry ball.
Oh my God. You can't miss that.
Wow.
Yeah. It just
off the
Is
leg.
that hit of his shin? Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
Did you guys ever play goalie?
I did as a kid.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, my dad made me. He said, if you want to be a great striker, you have to play you have to play as a goalie so you know how they think. And so I didn't play probably after I was 11 years old maybe, but I played keeper, especially indoors. And I would dribble like all the way up.
Oh my gosh. I could just see that.
So you weren't playing goalie. You were doing something else.
You were playing
Superkeeper.
a striker with that you could run back and use your hands.
Yeah. I like this. This is some Jorge Campos inspiration.
Oh.
Oh
Man.
Seattle are holding on.
New York
They're
is like
holding on,
pretty
but
dangerous
should-
on set pieces too.
Okay,
What
I'll
was
save
that,
this
Allie?
question for. I was going to say, we've got the chat asking about Castellanos tonight and our thoughts overall, but let's see how this goes.
Oh my! What?
What?
No. Is there a wall in front of their goal?
There's an invisible force field of some sort that is like keeping.
Happening? Who was that?
Are they
was it
unlucky
Fry?
or just like?
There were so many bodies.
Kellen just takes that.
Yeah,
Kellen double block.
off his back.
Look
Oh
at
my
Kellen Rowe.
Oh my god.
double doink
Good
and the-
substitution.
Yeah, Kellen Rowe, the defensive player of.
I think that was
That's
technically
right.
also a double doink, Allie.
Yeah, double doink just off of Kellen Rowe this time.
Yeah.
Kellen Rowe doing his best impression of the goalpost there. Nice.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's 5 really good chances for City in the second half.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay, so going back to the question then, thoughts on
Yeah, I forgot
Castellanos?
it.
Some good chances, but not really many that have been on his foot necessarily, at least in the last few minutes that we've seen. he's been involved in some way.
Yeah, but if he's not in that space dragging a player into the space to commit
Ever.
them, then I don't think the goal gets scored. So like Keelan said, he does get an assist, like an asterisk assist on that.
Yeah,
So
and he also just squared that one over to Thiago too, which is or was that Magno? Sorry,
I think it was Magno, but
yeah.
So
he just,
but more so, do you want him in that position to be setting the goals up, or do they need the ball at his foot if they're not finding the back of the net with all these opportunities here?
I mean,
that's a good question.
It's a great question. Yeah, the hard part is that like, yeah, he's had to kind of vacate that spot a little bit to create space for others, which has worked. But then, you would love to see him as the one with that final touch, because that's basically been the only thing that's missing for NYCFC right now.
Well, and I feel like when in so last year was 2021. These years I don't know why anybody else feel like they're all blending together.
Yeah, they all blend.
In 2020, there were like glimpses of, Tati Castellanos could be the best 9 or the best striker in this game, but it wasn't quite there. But I feel like one of the things he does really well is he does play differently than a traditional 9, where he'll connect the lines, he'll drop into space. He'll almost be a false 9 at times. He can stretch the back line. So I think, Ali, to your point, like he can do all these different things. And when you don't have Maxi Morales to be the playmaker, maybe he's taking on more of that role. And that's why we're not seeing him in front of the goal. Oh.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
It stopped for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got stopped here.
Oh.
All right, I'm at 78-20 now.
Did you refresh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm refreshing.
It's 3-1 New York.
Stop. Stop.
That was fast.
Oh, hold on. Mine's not. Okay, what are we pausing at?
All right, I'm at 78-42. Is anyone there?
No, you're
not yet. Pause there, and then
right,
we'll
pause.
come and get you.
Okay, what are you at? Sorry.
42?
Yeah, I'm at 78-42 pause.
I'm at 78-52 paused right now.
Okay, we'll come to
Okay,
you.
we'll be there.
And there's a lot of controversy right now.
And
That's
there's a
all I'm
lot.
gonna say.
Yeah, there was a lot of dribbling. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay, all right, I'm at
paused.
52. Me too.
There
You're
was
at
a
where?
lot happening
52?
there. I had to focus
Yeah.
on
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Let's go.
Okay, play.
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 All right.
What is going
Oh
on
my
here?
gosh.
What is going on here?
They're yelling handball.
Calling for a handball. Okay, so
Let's
good
see.
time to talk about the substitutions. No, I'm kidding. I
Oh,
was
wait.
going to do that before we had a refresh, but
Oh my
Keaton
goodness.
Parks on for Amundsen and Aber on for Alfredo Morales.
Good
All right,
subs
here's our
when you need
replay.
goals.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
Ooh. That's
That
a hard
looks like a
angle. Do we
hand-
have the other? That does look like a hand from that one, but
Kellen Rowe goes from being the post to the possible.
oh. We're not even gonna
All right.
What kind of check
get
was
another
that?
look. Wow. That referee was not messing
Okay.
around.
Alrighty.
Whew.
So the subs. No handball. Not sure what happened there. Let's see how the chat's reacting to that one.
I want to kind of see like a larger view to see how the subs fall into place. And that looks like it's Parks in the back line, which is interesting, right? That's him.
Yeah.
Probably playing in the middle.
And then,
He may just drop deep in the build.
yeah.
I want to see New York score just so it's a hectic last 10 minutes. Like
Yeah.
give me chaos.
I'll root for that
5
too.
minutes.
Yep. I can get behind that.
I want it also them to just keep pushing. Like maybe, I don't know. Do we want penalties? But the fact that if they could get it 2-1, these last couple minutes just throwing everything at it, that would be fun. Get a little Sean John in the mix on some set pieces.
Like Charlie and his youth goalkeeping days.
Yeah, standing tall at 5'1", it's never a keeper. That was not in the cards for me.
Yeah.
All right, here's Rui Diaz. This would be the time, I think, for that
Yeah.
Rui Diaz sub.
That's the most he's gone, isn't it?
He's just hit this. I think he hit just about this last week.
Okay.
But the week before in league play, he came off the bench. So I think this is just his second start since coming back. But he's done an important job.
87 last.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
The thing here is New York City had their chances. They had their chances. They've squandered them.
Yeah. How do we feel about the stretcher crew's performance here? What are you guys thinking about this?
That was
I feel like they didn't quite load it up properly. Like they were a little offset with their numbers, but they managed to do a pretty good job.
Okay, what's the
despite
controversy here? What's going on?
There's Kalen Sub. He was right. Everybody
There
take
it
a
is.
drink in the chat.
so. Yeah, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Anders is texting me about some time wasting antics from his beloved Sounders. I don't know if that was the
Okay.
reason for.
Yeah.
Did they give out a
No,
yellow
that-
card? I thought they might have given out. I couldn't tell if there was a yellow card or not, but they were arguing as if
Yeah,
something like that had happened.
Will Bruin in, Rui Diaz out.
I think they gave Rui Diaz a yellow card for flopping.
Ooh,
Nice turn.
yeah.
Maybe that impacted the stretcher form.
Right. Oh, here it is. Yellow card.
Yellow. There.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, wait,
For
what's going
Steph
on?
Fry.
Stephen
yeah.
Fry? Did he run up there?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
He was jealous about me talking about Sean Johnson going up the field. He's like, what about me? Oh, gosh. How annoying is it when a team is winning and they're doing all this? You know, it's so annoying when you're
we've got
the
another
team
stretcher.
losing. But
It's real-
when you're the team winning, you do it, you know? Like,
I
you just
agree.
Yeah.
cannot do it. But like, it is
It's-
so frustrating.
Yeah, but it's also really important.
Yeah.
Who's up?
And smart. Like I feel like when I've watched or even playing against the Mexican teams, there's been a lot of people will say, oh well, the Mexican teams will just like completely use that gamesmanship too much, and then they go on and advance and win. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it's crucial to do that. That's a part of the game, especially in these tournaments. And even when I was thinking with the national team with like Walker Zimmerman, he got hit. I mean, he got hit bad by Godoy in the face multiple times, but he still makes sure to go down and accentuate it, right? And so I just think it's a part of the sort of savviness of a Seattle team that makes me think they could go to a final potentially and win it.
Right.
Because they have the experience to understand, like, you gotta kind of stay down a little longer here, or learn how to run out the clock in those every little second counts against in a game that's so tight. Because I mean, even if New York manages to get one, it's like it could be chaos.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
here we
corner
go.
kick. Yeah,
Give me
the Sounders
chaos.
knew exactly how many
And we
stretchers
want
were
the
in that
chaos,
building, and they were going to use every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Stretcher crew earning their money is what someone says in the
Mhm.
chat. All right. Chat, how are we feeling?
Chat, give it to us straight.
Give it to us. Let us know.
Oh,
Anders, are you still
goodness.
scared?
We're
No,
playing some good balls in there.
I think he's good now. The 87th minute, you're feeling pretty good.
I once saw San Jose come back on Columbus, though, and the 80th and on.
You're having flashback. Jordan's having flashbacks.
I'm just saying it can happen.
okay.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Oh, it was there.
Oh, man. Jeez.
Oh.
I feel like that ball from deeper, though, is so difficult for City to do anything with because it just, with all those players back for Seattle, like it's so much easier for a defender to just come out and head that than it is to flick anything on frame. But then Parks does that.
Charlie, you said 87th minute. You're feeling good.
Oh, my gosh.
Also,
Kalen
doesn't
Jordan.
just feel like anything that's going anywhere around goal, Steph Fry is going to get a hand on. It's just
Yeah.
inevitable.
He's been
'cause
unreal.
He is
Man of the match.
like insane saves. The one off the shin, that last one, which is a tough one because you have to kind of bank on there being a deflection or being a redirection, and then you have to kind of hold your ground a little bit and react. So good.
Okay, if you guys are playing in this moment right now, how are you? Where are you at mentally? If you're up, or if you're New York and you're needing a couple of goals here in the dying minutes of this game, where are you at mentally?
Just a couple more
Let's
minutes
go.
of suffering. Just to put everything you can.
Yeah.
Like this moment right here, it goes out for a goal kick. Everyone is relieved. And you're
Yeah.
like, take your time, slow. You're yelling to Steph, like,
Well, he's on a yellow.
right. But
So
you're
you
like,
can't take too
true.
much time.
but he's also savvy. He knows
Yeah.
how to drain just the right amount without getting a
Mhm.
second caution, right?
Yeah.
But everyone's taking a breath right now. Like, okay, we still got to defend. Injury time's up soon, but just keep plugging away. And New York City FC is just like, they're praying for another chance. And they probably think we're going to get one more and we have to just finish. Otherwise, it's not looking good. It's straight desperation mode.
Yeah. Good dribble.
Oh,
Get there.
Oh.
Is that Gray? Oh, no, Thiago. I still never figured out how to get my screen big, so it's like
There you go.
this big on my
He created the
computer.
goal was a similar play where I think he was able to get around Roldan and square it back that led to the dummy and then the finish. But yeah, they just haven't been able to kind of really turn around or get in behind that that back line. Actually, in a couple moments though, we saw it with Tati as well. It's just really been from there, just that last little bit of clinical, just being clinical in front of net, and then Steph Fry just being like, not today.
Yeah. Do you guys think the outcome's different if they could have played this at Yankee Stadium?
It's tough to say. I do think that small field does suit them, and it's like if you're applying pressure and waves, like it can just get you're just around the goal. It's pretty much always around in that dangerous area. So I do think it can make a difference. And just I know the record at Red Bull is still really good, but there's just something different about being at home. So I think they would have preferred it.
People too. Like I feel like that's been an a little bit of, when you're in these dying moments, and I don't know what the atmosphere is like there, but like when you're trying to push, like what's the atmosphere like in there? Because that energizes you, right? That'll get you and keep you going.
Yeah, that's why you want the second leg at home. I mean, the good thing for the Sounders, if they advance, is I believe they'll have the second leg in Seattle. So
oh my
as
gosh.
opposed to having to, you go on the road, you figure that out. You try your best to get an away goal, and you come back home, and when you enter into this like inevitable kind of chaos time, you get to do that at home, and we know the Sounders fans will definitely be there to support.
Yeah, no, Lumen Field. Again, should the results stand, we'll be rocking. But I'm curious, would you guys prefer, you get one home, do you prefer the first or the second?
You want the second leg being home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you know what you need to get done.
Yeah, and you're at home versus and you also if you play the first game on the road, you put a lot of pressure on that home team not to give up an away goal. So
yeah,
it's a perfect scenario for Seattle.
And I just keep going, like Kaylin, to my point, like about playing at Yankee Stadium. Like, it's not as if they didn't have chances here tonight to win this, right? Like, it was all there.
Oh my God!
What?
Oh my! I mean,
ring the alarm.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Call the cops. Like, something is off for New York tonight. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I mean, has it been more that they've just gotten a little unlucky, or they just really haven't been clinical enough?
They haven't been clinical enough. Like there's being unlucky, but then there's just wasting chances, and they've been wasteful.
Yeah, like the second doink and the double doink was a little unlucky, but
I really like this term.
It's so good.
I think I stole that from the Chicago Bears kicker a few years back.
Oh, yeah.
It literally hit inside both both posts.
I remember that now.
And it turns out that phrase works for just about everything.
How happy and secure is Anders right now, though?
Oh, he texted me. He said he's chill. So.
Yeah, he's dancing.
and that was a couple of minutes ago. So he's been feeling fine. The champagne
that was a good touch. How do you keep that in?
Oh my God. Did we get how much extra time there is?
6 minutes.
6.
6. Okay, yeah. So
there's a lot of numbers there. Like,
yeah,
with the aggregate, they just snuck it in there. Well, the subs helped for sure for City in the second half.
Yeah.
I just think he got the tactics wrong from the beginning with Acevedo and Morales. I just don't think if you're really going to be aggressive, that would have been that's the right choice.
Yeah. But just to be devil's advocate, if you don't play a little bit with more defensive players, then does Seattle score? Like, do they still score? Like, does it change? Because Seattle's still going to score a goal, or maybe they get 2 if you play that way from the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah, this is game over.
Oh man. It's the game is ending how it started. We've got a full circle moment happening here at Red Bull Arena.
Did you guys get any brawls? Charlie? Kalen?
No.
No, I was too smart to get in a brawl on the field.
Yeah.
I was always trying to finish the games and score goals. I knew if I got in a brawl, red card, and you're out multiple games,
Yeah.
not worth it.
Okay, who was the hottest head that you ever played with? Like who was?
Oh, that's
who was,
easy.
like-
No, but actually, I mean, it's a tie. I guess it would be a tie between Clint Dempsey and Jermaine Jones.
That's a good list.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, you can.
I do feel like there's more like scuffles these days, though, like what we just saw.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well played.
Well
Yep.
done.
Give it up. Seattle Sounders on their way to the CCL final, taking on Pumas, leg 1 on the road, leg 2 at Lumen Field. That place is going to be rocking, guys. I mean, you just already know it.
yeah. Kaylin and Charlie are already trying to figure out how they're going to be there at that second leg. I feel like.
Oh, we're
Same.
going. We're
right,
going.
guys?
Anders, we're going, Anders. I already get the tickets
Anders,
ready.
send us the itinerary.
Yep.
We're all going.
On the pitch side.
Okay, everyone watching along with us, stay with us for the next 10 minutes or so as we kind of do a little post-game recap, starting with the big question now on everyone's minds. Now that this game is wrapped, we know the winner, we know the final matchup. Is this the year that an MLS team goes out and wins CCL? Are the Sounders the team to do it? Jordan and Jelly, I'll start with you.
I think so. And I feel like that performance shows you why they can do that. Is at home, we saw them be a little bit more expansive, and we saw how lethal they can be in various forms of attack, scoring multiple goals against a good City squad. But then on the road, which they're going to have to do, yes, in very different territory and circumstances, but they can rely on Stefan Fry, very much so. They have a team who can sit back and deny goals against. I feel like that's a really solid performance from Seattle, very different from what we saw last week, but I think that's what you see in CONCACAF Champions League, especially when you're on the road. So I do think this could be the team to do it, especially now that you've got Rui Diaz scoring a goal and feeling like he's off and running.
All right, Kaylin Carr, I know at the beginning of this stream tonight, everyone was talking about how, hey, whether it's New York or Seattle, there's a lot of confidence with either team going out and winning against Pumas. Do you feel a little bit more confident though now seeing that Seattle performance?
Well, I don't know, because I still think I have so many bad memories of CCL heartbreak, especially as we get to this sort of final line. Because we've had teams that have made it this far and even hosted the second leg at home and still even returned home to that second leg in good shape and then found the same sort of sad defeat at the end. But I do think the Seattle team could get across the line. I think Jordan did a great job of kind of outlining it. And even some of the players they're getting back, you see Rui Diaz now finding his form. Nuhu came back into the team. He gets an assist, does well defensively to the team. So I just think Ladero also going. And I know this team is a team that can kind of go on the road and find results and sit back and kind of use Jordan Morris on the break. We saw Nuhu, even the way they get the wide play going. And that's good. But I think what I saw last week against New York City actually gave me more confidence than necessarily what I saw tonight. What I saw tonight is something I think I've known the Sounders can do. But what I saw last week from them, which was the way they were able to dominate the ball, really create overloads, dynamic passing and movement with the ball at home, that is something I think where, we're seeing a new level of this Sounders team. We've known Stefan Fry is amazing. He steps up in big games. But I think seeing some of the way these pieces fit together at home gives me a lot more confidence heading towards the second leg. So I would say cautiously optimistic. I think this team really can get it done. But yeah, it's hard because we just haven't seen it done yet from MLS. So I'm excited though. I think this team, I'm hoping, can get it done. What do you think, Chuck?
Charlie, does history change this year? Is it the year?
Yes, it is. Their Seattle Sounders are a better side than Pumas. They have more quality, and that's not always the case when you get to a finals in CONCACAF Champions League, and you're playing against Tigres or you're playing against Monterrey, and they have some high level international stars. Pumas does not have that. The Sounders have better players, higher quality players, experienced players. I think when you look at what Alex Roldan had done in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying with El Salvador, that has to give him and the team a lot of confidence, because that's your right back. Then you look at your left back, Nuhu, playing in African Cup of Nations and World Cup qualifying. That's a huge plus. Your two outside fullbacks. That's another way to get at teams, to penetrate teams. And when you can have two outside backs that are so dynamic, that's massive. You look at their two defensive midfielders. I think Albert Rustak had a quiet game tonight. I thought he was better in the first leg, but again, it's still the process of learning how things work with this team. Him and João Paulo are going to make an incredible tandem, and it's just about continuing to play more matches together so they have that experience. Ladera Roldan, Jordan Morris, and Rui Diaz, lethal. That has enough firepower to hit Pumas in a lot of different ways. The counterattack in possession, the first leg when they scored the goal against New York City FC, you thought that first goal, wow, that was a team goal. That was beautiful. They have that quality. They can hit you on set pieces, dead balls. I'm really confident that Seattle Sounders get it done. And now that they play the second leg at home, that further cements my confidence in this group. And for New York City FC, I will say it's a step in the right direction. You had the chances. You had 24 shots, but only 8 were on target. That's not good enough, but it was still good enough to win this tie. You just weren't clinical enough. So I think you just have to continue to build off of this performance, even though it was gut-wrenching to not move through. And this competition really takes out a lot of energy for a group. It's usually a long time to recover from it, but I think they have enough depth and they just have to build off this performance. But what a great semifinal matchup.
Yeah. And
Seattle Sounders, I'm going to be rocking my Seattle jersey I got in the final. Let's get behind Seattle and hope that they can get it done for MLS.
We want to see a Jimi Hendrix jersey at the Club World Cup, right? Like that seems fitting. We need to see it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Charlie, a lot of great thoughts there, but I want to stick with New York here. You kind of talked about some of the positives that they can take from this match.
Mm-hmm.
Kaylin, where do they go from here? What's next? What's next that they need to build on here as they transition back to the regular season?
Well, it's tough because this will be, I think, a massive disappointment for them, because they have put so much into this tournament that it's actually, it's hurt the beginning part of their season where they haven't been able to find the results. And then that's coming off the end of last year where they have this incredible run and go all the way to the final, but then have a short off-season break because you're immediately kind of switching gears to get ready for this tournament. And so we've seen teams really struggle in the past, kind of making this transition where you put so much into something. And this one is actually tied to even last season as well. So they're going to need to get some guys healthy. I think getting Maxi back, we saw how big he is to that run last season. And then in his absence, yes, they made some adjustments and did much better in the second half to create opportunities to get back in this, but we're never able to kind of dominate the ball or possession the way that we've seen them in the past, which I think this New York City team is still best when they're ball dominant and when they're able to get on it and really move you side to side and then create opportunities. So getting them back will be big. Getting him back will be big. I also think Chanot and that partnership with Collins, getting them back. So just missing big, important pieces right up the spine, I think was difficult for them. But if you see them getting healthy and you see the emergence of Thales Magno and Thiago Andrade, I think those two guys can play a bigger role. They didn't really find a moment in this tournament, but I would expect them to have much more success this year and take a bigger role on this team for NYCFC going ahead. So I'm still high on NYCFC. Yeah. I think they're going to figure it out, but it's going to be tough for them because they've put so much into this one.
Jordan, I mean, like Kaylin just said, they put so much into it, not just this season, but last season, making it all the way to the MLS Cup final, lifting the trophy, shortest offseason, boom, CCL. I mean, how do they recover from that? We've seen teams in the past really struggle. I mean, just, hey, speaking from experience here in KC, Sporting Kansas City's only losing season under Peter Vermees, where they missed out on the playoffs, came in that same year that they competed in the Champions League. So how does NYCFC avoid what's happened to teams of the past?
I feel like just getting Caitlin hit it like healthy. I think that that's what we've seen from a lot of teams after they've had a good run. We saw it from the Crew a couple years ago. We're seeing it right now from City. We're seeing it from New England. And a lot of that has to do with just injuries. And then you're relying on players to step in and sometimes going pretty deep in your rosters. And that's a difficult thing. So I think there has to be, and I don't know City's run of like what games they have next up, but building in a little bit more rest because they've put in more miles than some of these other teams. Like they're going to have some extra rest in order to kind of reset. But I do think there's a lot that they can build off of just from the mentality standpoint, from going into this game, and the goals were there. So know that they can create, they can get into those spots. And it's a hard one because they're going to be disappointed. But I think that the effort and the play from them tonight was something that they're not going to be disappointed in.
The big positive for New York City FC is they have 5 straight home games.
There you go.
So
Charlie got it when I was talking.
and the last home game is against Columbus on May 14th before they travel to DC. So I think from that standpoint, you maybe take the guys who have played a bulk of the minutes in CONCACAF Champions League, give them a week off.
Yeah.
You know, let them kind of take a vacation, get a little, I guess that usually I remember I had a coach who would give you that time off and say, get away from the game. And it's not like you were going to lose a ton of fitness in a week, but what it was able to do for you mentally far surpassed what I guess the benefits of trying to stick it out and continue to play and take ice baths. It was literally just get away from all activity, get away from the training field, get away from your teammates, go and get some rest. And just that week of recovery, the mental recovery, I guess fired you up and was able to give you that, I guess, enough of a recharge to come back and get going again.
Final scoreline tonight: Sounders 1, New York City FC 1. Not enough as they fall in aggregate scoring 2-4. Sounders moving on to the CCL final, taking on Pumas. Final stat lines. I mean, Charlie, you mentioned it. 25 shots for New York City, only 8 on target, 10 corners, 63% of possession. They just could not find the back of the net, not quite clinical enough in this one, even after finding their way back into the game with a goal by Santiago Rodriguez. But now we shift our focus on to this final. Seattle Sounders taking on Pumas, who will be without their starting center back Arturo Ortiz, who was sent off in the 63rd minute against Cruz Azul, which means he will miss the first leg of this final. Expectations for this matchup. I know there's a lot of confidence from all of you guys with the Seattle Sounders team, but how do you see this final shaken out between the Sounders and Pumas? And then just final thoughts on this edition of CCL 2022.
I feel like, Charlie, just going to Mexico is such a difficult task. Caitlin, I'm not sure if you played there or not, but maybe you guys can speak to that, because I feel like that is the biggest challenge here, is managing the away leg, the first leg being away in Mexico. I feel like that's really where this could be won or lost in a lot of ways for Seattle, because we know how good they can be at home.
Well, I would just say the Sounders do have experience doing this. So if you and I think that's the point for maybe NYCFC is they're, over time, they're going to get more experience in tournaments like this. But Sounders have, beaten Tigres, I think Santos, Laguna, and Leon. So I don't think they'll be intimidated about going to Mexico or even lack any understanding as far as what they're in for. And then to Charlie's point as well, with the international experience that this roster has of playing in CONCACAF and, playing in World Cup qualifiers, even just in this latest cycle, playing in difficult, harsh environments as a team, that these Sounders players have tons of experience doing that. So I think even as you build when I played in CONCACAF Champions League, the first time you go down there, it's like, it's a bit of a shock. And, you're like, wow, what is this like? How do you learn this? Like, how do you know what you don't know? And I don't think there's going to be any surprises for the Sounders team. So I think this first leg is really just about kind of managing it. I think they'll be comfortable being a little bit deeper and really trying to use their speed, try and go through Jordan Morris or get Nuhu going forward on the wings and go from there. See if you can, Ruidíaz, it doesn't take many chances for him. He's in good form now. And then you try and get home with a chance to really take it to them at home. And we've seen them. That's where I think they can really sort of separate themselves. But I don't think they'll be intimidated by the challenge of going to Mexico. I think especially having played against maybe some of the more, vaunted Liga MX sides. But
yeah, I would say, they've already played León in León, and to get a 1-1 result there, and they played a 5-4-1. And so they didn't have Ruidíaz. They had Freddie Montero. They understand what it takes to get a result there. I mean, they had to defend. If you look at the stat line, I mean, they didn't have much of the ball. 27% possession. They only had 6 shots. I think it'll be more or less of the same in the sense that they'll concede possession, they'll be compact, and then they'll look to hurt Pumas when they can. And there will be opportunities to get in behind because they're right back. He bombs forward. That's a vulnerable space for Jordan Morris. It almost speaks everybody. That's the isolation for us. Jordan Morris down the left side, because they do leave spaces open for the Seattle Sounders to counter. So, like I said, I really like their chances. They match up well versus Pumas.
Yeah. We've already got some Pumas fans jumping in the chat comments here.
Let's go.
So
Come at us.
This is going to be an awesome matchup. And really, obviously Sounders fans absolutely thrilled right now, but really great for Major League Soccer. This is just the 5th time that an MLS team back in the final, fighting for the chance to be the first to actually lift the trophy. The Sounders looking to do that in 2022. Any final thoughts, you guys? This has been fun tonight.
This has been awesome. You've done a great job. Terrific job hosting.
It, Allie.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for
we got all
having
linked up as well on our streaming time, and
we were only off a couple of times.
No, this is super fun. Thank you so much for joining us for this one. This has been a blast.
Yeah, this has been really fun. Thanks to everyone for joining us on YouTube tonight, watching along. Maybe not as much chaos to the goalpost. That last question for you all: who was the man of the match? Was it Stephen Fry or was it the goalpost?
It's not even close. It's Fry.
Fry. Absolutely fantastic, stopping things left and right to send Seattle Sounders through to the final. That's going to do it for us, and we'll see you next time for some CCL final watch-along. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's it for us. For Jordan Angeli, for Kaylin Carr, for Charlie Davies, we'll see you next time. I'm Allie Trost.